Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Well, this is Mobien. This is dedicated to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian Biafra War and IPO families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian Biafran War, in the thickness of the Biafra.
That's odd. Okay.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Well, this is Mobien. This is dedicated to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian Biafra War and IPO families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian Biafran War, in the thickness of the Biafra genocide. Hey, one man revived the vanishing hope to life. Let the great Biafran army to fight, and they were singing out, holy, 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 all the Mebujuku is another Savior. They were singing out, holy, 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 all the Mebujuku is another Savior. Holy, 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 all the Mebujuku is another Savior. Many years after the genocide, whoa, yet another great leader has risen up now. Oh, and he's leading the Biafrans to victory. In your madika, yabika kokwanam no. Hey, anamekele maduche mefo. Manemo, it's an honor having you on board. When I'm singing along, holy, 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 Nandekano is another Savior. Gonna sing along, holy, 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 Nandekano is another Savior. When I sing along, holy, 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 is another Savior. Getting it right and getting it faster now. Holy, 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 is another Savior. Holy, holy, get it moving right, holy, faster, yeah, for freedom. Is another Savior. Yeah, for freedom. Holy, 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 Nandekano is another Savior.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Well, this is Mobien. This is dedicated to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian Biafra War and IPO families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian Biafran War, in the thickness of the Biafra genocide. Hey, one man revived the vanishing hope to life. Let the great Biafran army to fight, and they were singing out, holy, 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 all the Mebujuku is another Savior. They were singing out, holy, 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 all the Mebujuku is another Savior. Holy, 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 all the Mebujuku is another Savior. Many years after the genocide, whoa, yet another great leader has risen up now. Oh, and he's leading the Biafrans to victory. In your madika, yabika kokwanam no. Hey,
Greetings to everyone, and this is I thought I should come in to address this topic regarding how rich is Nigeria, because this is I think because this topic is important because when I normally have conversations with Nigerians, I hear them say how rich Nigeria is, and we are extremely rich and we have a lot of natural resources. We do a lot of exports and stuff like that, and it's something that I feel like we need to get to the bottom of, because if we are so rich, then why are we going through all the troubles we are going through? Is it all down to corruption? And is it the reason why our roads are terrible? Because I don't know where the money is going to. We need to get to the bottom of it, and so look for ways, and the easiest ways to actually, if we are not as rich as we think we are, obviously, we need to look for the best ways to actually, the most efficient ways to actually make us get to where we really need to be. Because the country's population is over 200 million, and compared to other countries out there with the same size, their GDP is well beyond what we are doing. So that is something that needs to be taken care of, and I hope people can come in and share their opinion on this. And I have to thank one man for giving me the opportunity to discuss this with Nigerians, because I feel like it's an opportunity to actually get to some things that I think is important to the country and to myself, because I really think that this is something I like, discussing stuff based on common understanding of what we are discussing. Because if we don't even agree on how rich the country is, then you can start seeing how we can disagree on solutions. And so that is why it's good for everybody to be on the same page on this one. And personally, I would truly appreciate people that can come up also with nifty ideas, most efficient ideas. That's very, very efficient ideas that would, enrich the country. Because we hear so many, suggestions out there, consumption to production, and value added manufacturing and stuff like that. But maybe there are other smarter ways to do it. We know of how some countries have done what they've done to get their country where they got to. So it's something that we seriously need to contemplate on and discuss. And I hope everyone out there is looking to join the conversation so that we can get to the meat of this. And even if we have 3 people here discussing this, is something, because I believe that if when we start moving the goalposts, that's how you move things forward. And so let's, if anyone that wants to join the chat, I think the link is already out there. You can come in, and so that we can discuss this topic. And so that, and this topic, I will be raising it anywhere I go, so that we all are on the same page. Because every time I talk to Nigerians, they're accusing the government of stealing everything. They're accusing governance of being too expensive. The passions are everywhere. There's a lot of passion about these things. They say we are very rich. Our resources are getting stolen. How much is actually getting stolen? How much? I don't know. And I'm not sure anybody, people would like to say that they know. They don't truly know. And maybe someone out there knows about this. And if they know, they can come in and share their opinion about what they know, and how much we are losing in terms of revenue. I've heard of cases where they say that they're coming with aircraft into the country to take our natural resources, that the Chinese are being given licenses to come and basically rob our natural resources. Personally, my own opinion about this is that the natural resources it's not often as valuable as we like to think it is, until you start adding value to it. And it doesn't help that our refineries are not functional too. It means we have to buy petrol. So how rich is this country? that we are talking about. You know, we like to say we are rich, but if we have to buy petrol, it cancels out almost everything we get from crude oil. So where else is the money going to come from? Is it from revenue? Is Nigerians paying into the coffers of the country? From what I gather, the internally generated revenue is about, let me see, what does it come down to in Nigeria? Is it not about 1.9 trillion on average in Nigeria? That comes down to 4 billion US dollars. 4 billion US dollars. Is that what a country will live on? It's nothing. The Californian health budget alone is over $200 billion. That's California, not in the entire United States. California, not its entire budget, just the health budget alone. It's over $200 billion. While Nigeria's total internally generated revenue is about $4 billion. So this is something that, you know, it's something that we really need to confront. Our people need to start understanding where we are. This is not something that we should take for granted. It sounds like a simple topic. You just come and say, oh, how rich is Nigeria? Oh, let's say we are all very rich and all the rest of it. But when I did the numbers, I'm not so, you know, it's not what do you call it? It's not something that we should be, you know, jumping for, because it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good compared to the UK. If I pull up the UK, this in the national budget right now, you guys will be surprised. It's probably almost 10 times out of Nigeria's, maybe more. How does a country 4 times smaller than Nigeria in population have 10 times our national budget? They have so much money to spend. We need to figure this thing out. That's why the minds that are interested in these things, figuring this out, untangling it, should come in and discuss these things. Because we really need to figure it out. Otherwise, where are we going here? Where are we going? Because let me get the numbers for the UK budget. UK budget for 2022. Let's see, 2022 budget. National budget total. Let's see, total. That should give us somewhere around, oh my goodness. Let's see. So because Nigeria's national budget, I think, is somewhere around 20 to 40 billion US dollars. And then that of the UK is somewhere over 1 trillion. If I'm not mistaken, from what I'm looking at, total expenditure by the UK, I mean, is over 1 trillion pounds, not dollars. If we take it to dollars, we are looking at about 1.2 trillion dollars, while Nigeria is spending just about $40 billion dollars. So that is not a healthy place for a nation like Nigeria to be in, and this is why our people are going through what they are going through right now. If you ask me, you know, a lot of people don't like when I say this, but Nigeria is functioning quite well based on the fact that we are living on very little. We are literally living on very little right now. So thanks for joining me, one man. Who is that's Baba Kure there. Let me add you and welcome Baba Kure. And so yeah, this is for me a serious matter, because I have to always start from the base, so that when I'm having conversations with people, we are all on. I have an idea where they are and where I am on those ideas. If we don't agree on the money and how rich Nigeria is, you can see that we will always be reaching different conclusions and disagreeing, and you know, it doesn't move arguments forward. So, Baba Kure, where are you on this? Oh, go ahead, one man.
No. You lead. So let me just get.
Okay, Baba Kure, where are you on this? In terms of this thing. Oh, go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, man. Good afternoon or whatever you have to.
Just say greetings. It saves you all the trouble. You save you all the trouble of figuring out the time zones we are in. Welcome,
Okay.
Emeka.
All right. Actually, I just came in and I saw that there's a program going on anyway, so I didn't know, but I heard about how rich Nigeria is. I don't know if you are really talking that okay, Nigeria is rich or Nigeria is not rich enough. And you mentioned about healthcare budget for healthcare in California for about, I think you mentioned about 200 billion naira, right?
Yes. Billion,
Okay.
billion pounds, $1 billion, sorry, in their own currency,
Okay.
dollars.
Are you saying that Nigeria is not rich, or are you saying that Nigeria is rich? Then I will be able to continue.
For me, the evidence is suggesting that we are not rich. We are not. We have, at least we are rich with all. We have all the elements of being rich, but in terms of what we are surviving on right now, we are not rich because the numbers don't suggest that we are rich at all.
Okay, if okay, based on what you just presented now, so you are saying that I'm going to put it in two ways: support your view and disagree with your view. Now, how do I support your view? Is that truly Nigeria is rich. There's no doubt about that. But it is not reflecting on the citizens. If that is the way, I agree with that. You see, Nigeria has enough money. I can tell you that, even based on our resources. What you are quoting here, it is what government, those who are embezzling the money, it is what they put in the system that you find in the system. Now, that of California, there's a little bit transparency in that. At least we can give them at least 90% transparency. But this issue of Nigeria, they posted whatever billions. That is not the true reflection of what we have, because 99% of this money has been stolen.
Okay.
If they really had this money together, let's say we've been transparent, not we kill corruption. If we can kill corruption, that budget that you're talking about in California, I think we have enough more than that. Even more than that, California. I know that California is a very big state. Even as I think it must have even bigger than Nigeria in landmass anyway. But due to the transparency, that is why we can say that okay, that is their budget. But we have I think we have a good change in our hand if we have good system that is not corrupt. That 99% of the money we're talking about does not end up in the pocket of few.
Okay,
So
but hold on. Let me just give you some of these numbers. If you calculate how much OPEC, this is not Nigeria, OPEC allocates to Nigeria for oil and gas exports. Yes. If you check that number, let's say Nigeria, there was not one drop stolen from that number. Nigeria will still not be able to afford California's healthcare.
Okay.
So are we rich then? You see my problem?
Okay.
You see that this is the thing. That's why we need to be having this conversation so we know. Because when we did the calculation based on OPEC allocation and none of the oil being stolen, if you multiply it, we're looking at about $40-50 billion. By the time we split it in almost in half to the oil companies that actually drill the oil and all the processes, we get half of that. And $40-50 billion, half of it is 25 billion. It's still not anywhere close to California's health budget. And that is our largest export. You see why I think the way I do?
Yeah, I see your point anyway. But you can also see that that if we really have let's say $50 billion, it will go a very long way in Nigeria based on the Nigerian context, not in America context, because that $200 billion you're talking about will be if our country is really doing good. I know that's a lot of money, but 50 billion also in Nigeria is a lot of money in Nigeria if it is well used and still this money.
Baba Akure, if you're asking if Nigeria is actually rich, what I think another question you have to ask,
Desmond, you are
if you say,
Desmond, just to be fair to King Emeka, he was here first. I don't know whether it's okay with you going.
no, I just wanted to interject.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
He said, if Nigeria is not rich, I feel like you have to still ask, um, who is the richest man in Africa? Who is the richest
well,
man?
that's a very good point.
No, yes, that you have to still ask that. Who is the richest man in Africa? One. In music, who is the richest musician in Africa? Two. In comedy, who is the richest comedian in Africa? Three. In what's it called? In church, who is the richest pastor in Africa? Four. So you have to ask all these questions. I feel you see it boils down to all Nigerians. So you will say Nigeria is actually very, very rich. That's
Okay.
my own take.
I get from that point of view, it does make some sense because you say, okay, yeah, the richest man, richest artist, stuff like that. But if you look at it, the reason why they are rich is because of the numbers and because many of these people they are doing value addition to whatever they are doing. Dangote is manufacturing stuff. It's making stuff. It's not just digging stuff off the ground. It's making stuff with them. And these musicians are creating art. And the Nollywood is creating art. So you can see where these individuals are outperforming Nigeria itself. That is the reason why they are rich. Like the way that's why they are coming across. And even then, because the pool they are pulling their resources from is not very deep, they cannot compare Dangote to the richest man in the West or even in the East. Those ones will dwarf Dangote's these resources. You see what I mean? So everything we do, because of the way we are not tapping into our own best assets or the processes to generate wealth, it just seems like we're just relying on natural resources. Hence, as a nation, we are poorer because if you want, let's say Dangote wants to be rich, he has to charge Nigerians to for cement. Nigerians cannot afford the price for cement in Nigeria like they pay in the UK. So his wealth is less than it would have been if he was in the West. I don't know if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's the point I'm making. His wealth would have been even greater if Dangote was in America. He's gonna be like as a matter of fact, he will be bigger than this guy, Elon Musk and the others, because those guys are just dominating specific, social media arena. But Dangote is down this in colonizing massive areas of the nation. He's literally the only one supplying it. So I think from food to cement to all kinds of stuff. So if he was in the West, he will be even a lot more rich. He will be a lot richer in the West. So that is for me. Every direction you look, you find that we are performing very, very terribly compared to other countries out there. And I don't know, Baba Akure, I hope you understand where I'm coming from and how do you think about it now when you look at some of the data I've provided you?
Well, to your own extent, you are very right, but I still don't really want to take that into consideration that we are not rich, because you also mentioned about Dangote now, and I think Dangote is making a lot of money in Nigeria, and I think is making money in Nigeria than if he had been in the United States, because in the United States it's not going to be him alone. Because right now you are talking of about $4,700 or $4,800 for one bag of cement, right? So how much
Yeah,
is a bag of cement in the United States or in UK?
it's going to be more expensive. I can assure you, it's going to be definitely more expensive
Then,
in the
but
UK.
look at the labor that we will provide that in US and compare it with the cheap labor that we will use in Nigeria.
That's true. I think that's a valid point to take into account. But overall, you still have to consider that the money that is going into their pocket is still well beyond what let's say Dangote is getting.
And how many tax does Dangote pay to bring things into Nigeria and pay every year? So these are the things, because nobody is checking these people. So nobody is checking them anyway. They just feel like, okay, they do what they feel they can do and drop little that they want to drop, believing that they are assisting the nation. So Dangote is making more. To me, I think it's making more money in Nigeria than anywhere in Africa, safe, because based on I cannot really confirm that, but based on the information that I heard from people, they said the cement is more expensive in Nigeria more than anywhere in Africa.
I think that is a little bit of a this thing, a bit of a fake news, because I did check it some time ago, and it's not as cheap it's not as more expensive in Nigeria. That said, though, it should be more expensive overseas, if you ask me, because I actually think that because some of the other countries, the what they pay for their amenities is a bit more expensive than in Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the cheapest country in terms of amenities. I know of a Nigerian that left she's saying that she's going to leave the UK because she had to pay 500 and something pounds a month for power supply and gas. 500 and something pounds, that comes down to how many, over almost 200 and 300,000 naira to 400,000 naira.
But depends on how much that person in question is making in UK and what she intend to do in Nigeria. So she has to compare those two things all together before she can decide where I'm going to Nigeria, maybe, or because so how is she going to finance herself or himself if he eventually go back to Nigeria? There is no doubt Nigeria is very cheap. That is why I'm saying that 50 billion we're talking about for Nigeria, $5 billion we're talking about, it will go what we are achieving with 50 billion in Nigeria. That of California you're talking about, with that they are $200 billion. It is just little bit that we achieve more than us in Nigeria. If we really utilize that $50 billion, if nobody stole those money.
That's true. I think there's some truth there. If we use them wisely and use them to create an enabling environment where you actually do value-added manufacturing, yes, that's what we are trying to do now. Otherwise, we are going to be doomed forever. So that's what everybody's arguing for. Peter Obi talks about that all the time. I think everybody is talking about the same thing. And to an extent, it's happening. I think I heard that Nigerians are even manufacturing transformers now. So you can see that the gear they are trying to start turning the gear, but we are not there yet. We are still importing most of our stuff. And while you are importing, remember, that money that you are saying is cheaper in Nigeria, we still have to convert it to dollars to go and buy stuff from the market, like every other person. The computer that the Americans use is not going to be different from the ones we use. The mobile phone, everything is the same. So in other words, other people are operating on a totally different level. Everybody's going. It's like you go to market with your neighbor and he has 1 million in his pocket, while you have 10 naira. That is like you are struggling all the time to catch up. How do you catch up to that neighbor? Because tomorrow, if you want to go into transportation, your neighbor is going to go and buy a trailer, while you go and buy a wheelbarrow. That gap, we have to find a way to close it. And this is why this conversation is interesting, because we, in our heads, we think we are rich. Theoretically, Nigeria is extremely rich in theory, because we have most of our natural resources that we need to do our value-added manufacturing that will not require us to import a lot of things. In other words, we can export and make money from our manufacturing, and thereby not importing what other people have created. In other words, impoverishing us. So we can do that, but we are not even anywhere close to that. We are even importing petrol. We have 4 refineries. They are all not working. The private sector now, Dangote is the one that is trying to push forward with that one. So this is where our problem is, at least from my point of view. So I don't know. King Emeka, you have not said anything. I think this in Baba Akure, I appreciate your listening. You can interject anytime. I'm not you know, one man allows one person to speak for a long time, so anybody can
Let
interject.
others go. I'm currently in a meeting, so after my meeting, I would give my own
Okay.
narration, yeah.
All right, then that's fine. Let me see. Desmond, you have something to say? Desmond, you're muted. Akashe.
What's up, 2NAIJA?
Hi, welcome. So, what do you think about the topic in terms of how rich the country is? Where are you on this? Because me, I'm saying we are not as rich as we think we are.
Why do you say we're not as rich as we think? You think we are? Why do you say so?
Because if not one drop of oil is stolen, we'll still be poor. If our internally generated revenue, even if we double it right now, we'll still be poor. That is the reason why I say that.
No,
So
anyway, I just came in, so I'll be listening to the conversation, and of course I will interject if I have any issue.
okay,
Anything
all right
to
then.
say. And by the way, I'm actually Alexander, but I just use my last name. So
Nice. Thank you for coming in.
I still keep that statement you said last time about that the whole South. I will never forget that statement.
Which one? What
I
did
will
I
use it
say?
on to you. You forgot what you said, right? Peter Obi
I
win the
forgot
whole
it. What did I say?
Peter Obi win the whole South.
Oh yeah. He's gonna win.
No, don't forget. This
Yes, I'm not
February,
running away from
if
that.
you run
Yes.
away to Niger, I will find you.
Jesus Christ. I
You
will
know I'm
eat
from
humble pie
South.
for that one.
If you run away,
Yeah.
I will find you.
No, there's
Go
no
ahead.
running away. He will win it. You see.
He won't win the whole South. What are you talking about, bro?
He will. He will get he will get the highest number of votes in all the states. He has
Is
to.
it the highest number, or you will win the whole South? Do you know what it's winning
No,
the whole South?
so if you get the highest number of votes in the South, that means you win it. The highest number of
So he's
votes
gonna
everywhere.
win.
All the
Let me guess.
states.
Let me South. He's gonna win Delta when there's Okowa as a vice president. Right?
Yes.
He's gonna win Bayelsa.
Yes.
He's gonna win Cross River State.
Yes.
He's gonna win Akwa Ibom.
Yes.
Even you are laughing yourself. He's
No.
gonna win
Yes. The reason why I'm saying that I'm laughing because you are thinking that for me it's so obvious. Look at yesterday. Atiku just went and our party may be corrupt, but the APC is more corrupt. Who says that? You want
Politician says that.
A politician will say something like that. So you're
Yes,
admitting that your party is corrupt. That is, see, and he wants to run Nigeria. And come on, man, I don't even think Atiku is serious as a candidate. He's not serious. If he was serious, he would have addressed the division in his party. So this is why most of the South, I think Atiku, this PDP
And you
is
say
quite
Atiku
dominant
is
there.
not addressing the division of his party.
He's not.
He's addressing it, but the ego is not allowing the other party to see its own point of view. It's an ego.
No. So to address it is to give you your point of view or take action. What action has he taken?
Okay. Let's say what do you think Wike wants?
Wike wants Ayu fired. He said it openly.
Okay, and how did Ayu get to his position?
Through Wike, and they elected him to that position.
Okay, fantastic. We're going in a particular way I want it to go. So now Wike wants Ayu to be fired. Why?
Because he didn't want the party to be tilted towards the north in all the key positions.
Is that the reason, or is it because he didn't become the vice president?
That too, because I think he said it before then actually, because they said that it was some kind of agreement or an understanding that whenever it goes that way, that's what needs to happen. They are not disputing that aspect of it. They are saying that it has to happen after the election or something like that. That's what they were saying at first.
Is it because Ayu said Tambawa was the hero of the convention?
See, it doesn't even matter. The point is, Atiku hasn't made one gesture.
Have you noticed the trend in this whole conversation? It's only Wike in all the conversation we had. We have not brought the South.
But why does it matter? See, in the end, Wike is not running for president. Atiku is the one running for president. What has he done to resolve the issue? Nothing.
He has had numerous meetings with Wiki, but they
Yeah,
haven't
meetings,
yet come to an
How
agreement.
about when you're having a meeting, you say, you know what, Wiki, I'm not just talking. I've fired, I've sacked, I use a security guard, or I've sacked this, this in house, this in maker, whatever. He hasn't done one thing. He just talks.
Do you
So
think
you can't blame
really
Wiki for
think
holding
in
his
your
position.
mind? Do you really think deep inside your heart of heart that if Atiku if Atiku succumb to Wiki demands, that Wiki will still not backstab him? Do you
Maybe
really
Wiki will
think
still
in your heart of
backstab him, but
So
maybe
what is
Wiki
the
will still
point of him
backstab him.
agreeing
It's
to
not. See,
a
you have
guy
to
who-
understand. It's not about Wiki. It's about Atiku. Maybe Wiki will still backstab him, but he would have been seen to take action to unite the party. And if Wiki takes action, you will find that people will turn on Wiki too.
what they did to Jonathan in the 2015 election? Do you know the chairman was working against Jonathan?
I think, okay, I don't want to go deeply into those states because we are discussing a totally different topic, but don't worry,
Okay,
we are
I'm
going to
sorry,
get
I'm
back
sorry,
to
I'm
that
sorry.
one.
Let's go back to
We're
the
going to get
topic,
back to that one. And because I just feel like if he wants to unite the party, win the election, you have to have a united party and you have to take action. Hence why those things are important. Yeah, Kolata, the man of numbers, is here, and I like to think that I hold him accountable for his numbers too. So yeah, we are talking about this idea of Nigeria's riches.
I know. I get your general gist. Good. I mean, I'm bad at greeting people. Good day, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just quickly wanted to talk before I start my meetings for the day. Nigeria is not a rich country. Nigeria is an extremely poor country. Actually, one of the poorest countries in the world. Because how do you measure a rich country? You have to look at the economic output. So when you look at the economic output of Nigeria, we're like officially like a $400 billion economy. But now, how much is that per head? That is what matters. If you have a 400 billion economy and you are 10 million people, then that means you guys are like maybe 40,000 per head. But Nigeria, we're $2,065 per head. So every man and every man, his productivity, his output on the average in a year is just $2,065. How much of that do you make in a month where you are? What's the minimum wage translate to where you are to a month? We're talking about a full year. The output you have, every single thing you do, economic value is $2,065. That's not rich. That's actually one of the poorest countries in the world. Then, if you now go back to our budget, how much do we even budget to spend, and convert that to dollars, and look at it by every sector? It's terrible. It is terrible, terrible. And remember, we can't even fund our full budget. That's just budget. That's just a plan to spend. It doesn't mean you'll get enough money to cover the holes. So you still have to borrow for deficit spending to fill some of the gaps, and you're not going to fill all the budget gaps. So Nigeria should not ever be considered a rich country. We're not even close to it. I mean,
Kolata, are you talking in the sense of because Nigeria is not working, we are not like Nigeria is not
every single factor together is easy to measure GDP. It's easy to measure economic activity.
because,
Based on our
we are
based on our
saying this that,
official,
like Nigeria is Nigeria actually rich. I mean, if he was working, are we rich? Do you get
yeah, that's a different case.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
You are
think
projecting the best case. So theoretically, we sit on a lot of resources. The biggest resources we have is our human capital. We sit on a lot of human beings. But what's their productivity? What's their useful?
Sorry, Kulata, I want to ask a question. Has Nigeria ever been considered a rich country, in your opinion?
No, really.
In the minds of Nigerians, we are rich. They
It's
like
only
to
in the
talk
mind of
about how rich
Nigerians,
we
but
are. That everybody is stealing all our money, and we don't have money to this and that because everybody is stealing the money.
comparatively, maybe when
But
even when
Kulata,
our
though, I think that's
population
an
was
interesting point I just made just now. Let me ask you though, Kulata, I agree with you, because I'm also of the school of thought. Because if you just look at the numbers show that we are
We're
we are not
terribly
rich at
poor. It's
all.
not even.
Uh,
It's not just we're
but-
just poor. We're terribly poor. We're barely
so,
over Congo
hmm,
and all those countries.
why do people in the country believe that we are rich? Then how did this impression set in that we are a very rich country?
It's because of the economic resources is centered in among the few people, and you can see them squandering it. So there's a lot of inefficiencies, terrible inefficiencies in our system. Money is not evenly distributed. People steal because I quoted average GDP. Average, and that average includes the likes of Dangote.
Yeah.
So only God knows what the median GDP will be per head
Okay.
if you remove the effects of the Dangotes and the Odetolas and co. You see how
Yeah.
poor we are? You see how poor that will make us? If we look
Yeah.
at median
That is
numbers.
true now, because I said it before. I say if Dangote was in America or in China, he'll be even richer. And I believe that the elites, they also want to be rich. They want the country to do well too, and it will be, except the ones that are not clever enough. Because if I was a billionaire, I want Nigeria to do well so I can make more money, and so I can compete with my fellow billionaires all over the world. So and I think when people think that way, maybe they will start understanding how some elites think. Not all elites think alike. Some of them are just narrow-minded, that just want to make money through corruption or one other stupid idea that
Yeah.
they have in
So
their head, while others want to build.
all
Right.
Nigerians, the best Nigerians know how to do is complain and complain. And when you are now start articulating solutions to some of these problems, they'll tell you that Kolata, you're heartless. You don't like the poor. You don't this. You
Oh
don't
my
do that.
God. I even had that attack today, just today. And all I was doing was repeating what Peter Obi said. And I had an attack. I was like, what is it? I think the thing is, when Nigerians are traumatized, they just want you to talk about, oh, I want money, money. I'll give you money now, 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 now. But they don't want to hear about processes. They don't want to hear about systems. They don't want to hear about what you need to actually do first to get there. And if you don't say that, they will consider you like you are insensitive to their plight
You're
and stuff
insensitive.
like
You're
that.
this. You're that. I'm used to it anyway. So that one's is not. It doesn't move me here nor there. But this is the thing: is potentially we're a rich country, but how do you tap into potential? How do you? Well, I mean,
Mhm.
a country with 133 million in extreme poverty, meaning less than $1 a day. Less than
Yeah,
$1 a day. So look at it. That's why I said pay attention to average versus median.
yeah.
The nominal GDP, which is average, is 2065. People are making less than $1 a day. How many days do we have in a year? 365. So there are actually people making 50 cents a day. So theoretically, you have some people making $300 in
Mm,
a year. And now, if you now factor the likes of Dangote, that now brings it up to $2,065. So, are we a
yeah.
rich country?
I think I have to give that one to you, Kulata, for you to have that kind of clarity of thought, and because in the end, a lot of people, you talk to them, you just say we are rich, we are rich. I don't know whether they mean we have potential to be rich, because
We have
literally when you tell
potential
them,
now.
I
There's
think
stuff in
they
the
mean we
ground.
have potential to be rich, not
yeah,
basically that we are rich at the moment. That is it.
No,
but they
people
do go on
actually
to
think
say they are
we're rich.
stealing all the money. Yeah, they actually that's what I mean. They actually go on to say they are stealing all our money. That's why we are not rich. I'm like,
If
but if they
if you
give you
block
all the
all the
money they are
loopholes,
stolen, you will still be poor. You have to start generating money, because I said not one drop of crude oil is stolen. We will still be poor. So the problem is that we are not generating income from the crude oil. We are buying petrol on top of that. That is, it's just it's like somebody just slapping themselves every day when they wake up.
But
Do you feel people look at the
2NAIJA,
population size and the market size to factor in when they say Nigeria is rich?
I don't think so. They don't even consider the population. They don't even consider how other countries live. They don't consider how much richer other countries are. If they knew America spends trillions of dollars every year, they wouldn't even. Nigeria spends
uh,
about 30,
you
20 to
see,
40
I
billion
did
dollars.
something one day. My local county here, which is equivalent to local government, I looked at our budget. I now looked at, okay, no, forget my county. Ronaldo his contract in Saudi Arabia is like $200 million, right? Okay, that is
Yeah.
equivalent to the annual budget of Plateau State, or I think it's higher. Sorry, it's higher than the annual budget of Plateau State, and Plateau State will not be able to fund that budget. Ronaldo, an individual playing soccer for our entertainment in Saudi Arabia, his contract is worth more than the annual budget for a full state, and that state will still have budget deficits. So are we
Imagine.
rich? And again,
It's a shame. It's really a shame because we all go to the same market to buy goods. We have to go to China to buy whatever equipment we want to buy. We have to buy computer like everyone else. But our economy is somewhere, it's almost like we are a sub economy. I like to call it
we're
that.
not a productive economy. I think that's our biggest problem. We're not productive. We have resources. We don't have a clue what to do with them.
Okay, but
And
Kulata, let me ask you this then. If say okay, and for an example now, Nigeria's this in energy cost, like for electricity, a month, the amount you pay a month in Nigeria is more than 20 times less than what you pay here in the UK. That's more than 20 times. And yet, generating electricity is not necessarily a totally different idea. It's the same machines you still need to use in both countries. How does Nigerians get to a point where they start paying the kind of rates that they see in other countries? Because what that does, it allows foreign companies to come in knowing that Nigerians can afford their bills, that they pay for their electricity. How do we get to that point?
we need to create economic activity. The more economic activity you have, the richer people become, and the better they're able to afford stuff. But I mean, what is stifling us now from creating economic activity? First of all, the money that we're generating right now, there's corruption. People are stealing the few money we have. There's corruption. Then there's the stuff we put on ourselves, like subsidy. So we don't even have enough resources to invest. And if you go and borrow, if you try and go and borrow to meet the gap, before when we borrow, they will still do borrowing money. But now that at least we're borrowing to build stuff, people will now shouting, they are borrowing, no, they are borrowing, no. Even though Lekki Eweto Bridge is built, the bridge to Cameroon is built, Niger Delta Bridge is bridge. We're connecting brass finally for the first time. Some massive transformers, like 6 of them, came in the country. We're starting to build lithium refining capacity in Kaduna. We're building steel refining in Kaduna. Yeah, that's
wow, that's good.
So all those things are happening, but now they'll just say, basic, dead. It's not home economics for Christ's sake. I almost swore. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's not home economics. It's government economics. So it's gonna take a while. And the main thing is that 200 million people we have are fast growing. How do we educate them? Because 133 million people have less than $1 a day. Some people may actually have 150 naira a year, and because less than $1 is less than $1.
Calm down, 150 naira a year. Calm down.
But do you know the definition of extreme poverty? You're making less than $1 a day.
Okay,
so
you know what? One of the things I will do, so that by the time before anybody leaves, anyway, we need to. I would like everyone to, process in their mind what would be the most. The easiest way to get the highest outcome for Nigeria's this economy. It's like when you say, how people talk about, you need to do value added manufacturing. But is there anything else we can do out there, or a specific value added manufacturing that we can do quite quickly and very easily, and it will generate a lot of resources for the country, so that we can start getting ourselves into this, getting ourselves out of this poverty business that we have been doing for how many years now. So I would like you guys to be thinking about it, because the idea is to start getting very, very clever and efficient ways out of this. Because so far we just talk about value added manufacturing. Maybe there are other things. For example, the diaspora, we are not tapping into it at all. We are not tapping into some elements of this in online banking or transparency stuff. There could be something out there that I have not thought about, that we don't talk about much.
I think 2NAIJA, the first step we have to do is get rid of subsidy. Period.
Okay. That's a big one.
Yes. Once we
Are you in
get rid of,
Nigeria?
Huh?
Are you in Nigeria?
No, I'm not in Nigeria, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But
If you say that in front of Nigerians, they don't tend to like it. So that's it was in Nigeria. I mean, they will say, yeah, because you are not here, you're saying that. I buy fuel all the time, so I know. And as a matter of fact, the price of petrol now is almost getting to the price of actually what it's going to be when they remove the subsidy anyway. So because you buy from black market often, just for generators, you keep buying that. So fuel subsidy is a big one. Yeah, but see, Kolata though, if they take the fuel subsidy out, do we have any assurance what they're going to do with the money?
No, there are no assurances. So we need, I mean, first of all, if you take the money out, we need to make sure that money is not back into a rent-seeking system, because fuel subsidy is a rent-seeking system. So if you take the subsidy out, first of all, you still need to relieve people, because I mean it's going to hit them. It's going to hit them hard. So perhaps, I mean, we need to subsidize. What we need to subsidize is shift the subsidy. I will rather shift the subsidy to production activities, and I will try and subsidize, because honestly, not that I want to sound this, but if you read Tinubu's manifesto, you can get some ideas of some of what could do. You could subsidize, you could shift your subsidy to mechanized agriculture. Subsidize, start. India did something similar. Also, listen to Peter Obi when he says it, even though he doesn't explain it well. You should subsidize mechanization of agriculture in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Provide massive, like, make whatever you do, buy, borrow, steal, make sure we ramp up production of basic caterpillars, tillers, all those things. Of course, before we do any of these things for it to work, security is a priority. So first thing, yeah, I agree with your position. We have to secure the land, because if you don't secure the land, then you literally can't do anything. You'll be paying taxes to bandits. So first thing is to
imagine taxes to bandits. Yeah, that's
you need security, like emergency security, like state of emergency level security. We need that. And then on the longer run, we need to embrace what's called madrasa schools in the rural areas up north and most northern states. There needs to be a mandate.
Kulata, let me interject real quick.
Who is this? Oh, Aizon.
Aizon, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Welcome.
Welcome. I called in because you mentioned brass. I'm just joking. But
now you're not that Delta person.
No, you know,
what they claim every South.
I have family in Brass. I have family in Degema. I have family in Patani. I have family. Listen, I'm a true
There's one person. Niger Delta.
Yes, so and 2NAIJA, congratulations on becoming an acolyte of one man. You have been officially onboarded. The only thing that's left for you now is to support Tinubu, and you'll be a full-fledged member.
that was never a requirement. So it's all good.
I wanted to ask you a question. You mentioned security, right? And a lot of times people talk about security from a 50,000 foot perspective. They don't really talk about it in specific detail. What would your security, I guess, framework look like in Nigeria? And then the madrasa school piece you mentioned, good idea and concept, but remember, GEJ tried this, right? Remember, he tried it majorly in the north, and it failed woefully.
Yeah, so because he made some mistakes. So from a security perspective, there is multifaceted. There are things you can do immediately, and there are things that you can't do that has to be long term. Immediately, my priority will be bumping up all the levels. Police. I still know. I mean, I can't do state police. It requires constitutional amendment. Let's pack that one small. Forest guards, police, and forest guards, high. Intelligence gathering, very, 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 very high. There's one thing I'm missing. I'm missing one thing. Just the soldiers. Then, with massive intelligence gathering and forest guards, at least they can pick up intelligence, send it to the soldiers. We can have targeted response. Then I will shift my focus on relying on America for arms. I will look more into the Turkey. I'll look more into the Turkey, the China, because especially when we have a democratic Senate, they will just willingly start saying, and Nigeria did not meet one thing, some human right nonsense, and then they won't tell you. They will tell you don't use Tucano here, don't use it there. What the hell? Whose interest am I trying to protect? Like, so
Yeah.
I will buy drones from Turkey. I will deal with Turkey. I will deal with China. So I feel security. I mean, forget state police. That will take a while. It will take a lot of jaw. We don't have time for that jaw nonsense. That forest guard is critical. At least give them basic arms. But once we ramp up our soldiers, at least start from 250,000 additional soldiers. Start police from 250. Just realistic stuff for the first year, first 2 years. Then we can move the needle a little bit, because without, each locality needs a lot of intelligence gatherers. Like, if a community decides to go against bandits, the bandits will go down, because we've tested this in Borno State. When the Kanuri youths got fed up of Boko Haram, they chased them away from Maiduguri. Now they're only in just like 2 local government areas, because people were committed to do that. So you have to do it. And then you need a force in that Maghreb area, like an ECOWAS level, because you can't be having those Tuaregs be selling all those Libyan arms. And you see, that's another effect of democratic government, Obama. So I'm not a fan. I've started thinking about it that I don't even think a democratic government in America is useful for Nigeria or Africa in general. They stifle us. And so I don't want to digress, but that's what I'm going to do from a security perspective. It's not going to be anything mind-boggling, because at this point we can't afford it. And also, whatever we want, state police, is not going to happen without political capital and political jojo.
I must say, Kolata, you appear to be on fire today, so I have to give it to you. We're all on the same mind on these things.
No, we're on the same, but we just have some differences in terms
apart
of
from Tinubu now. We are fighting over Tinubu and Obi. That's what we are fighting
I'm
over.
not supporting Tinubu, but that man is going to be your president. But anyway.
Either way, I hope like-minded people and people like you are in Nigeria too. And if they are not, they are listening to you, because these things are extremely important. Because if let's say we recruited 250,000 as
for starters, I'm not saying that's just for starters.
Because that 250,000, can you imagine 50,000 soldiers of them just go to the Sahel? The change is going to make that's the biggest army in all the countries in the Sahel. Like, Ghana has 15,000 soldiers. It's like pathetic, really.
But we have to deal with France, though. You know, there's the influence of France in the Sahel.
That is what we see. If they hit us, if they come head to head with us, that's when Nigerians will wake up. And I think this sleeping giant thing that we do is not going to do us any good, because the whole world is moving faster and changing. Look at what they are doing with China right now, Ukraine. And if this thing keep ticking and we are just asleep here, we're only confronting Boko Haram, we don't realize that there's a bigger threat coming down the horizon. That's the mistake our forefathers made. We didn't know what the Europeans were doing, Berlin complex was going on.
2NAIJA, the problem is how do we...
Your mic is gone. We can't hear you. I think it's okay. I think let me use this opportunity to invite one man. I think he wanted to present something. I think the time has gone on too long. Sorry, one man. Kolata was presenting something very compelling, so I had to. I thought he should. This is flow. If you have anything to this in there contribute, you can come in now. That's one man. One man is here now.
All right. Thanks to 2NAIJA. I just wanted to introduce this article that I saw to the conversation you were having, just how wealthy Nigeria is. So I'm just going to pop it on the screen. Just give it a readout, then I'll get out of your way. Let me. So there it is, right there. I just came across this. It's just a random search, So I just we'll see what veracity has to the conversation. It says, Nigeria, a strange mix of poverty and oil wealth. Pardon me. It says, pardon me. It says countries which have large reserves of oil are usually considered to be rich, barring a few exceptions like Venezuela, Iran, and Nigeria. Most oil producers in the world have a thriving economy. Socialism caused the economic collapse in Venezuela, whereas Iran has been plagued with radical Islam. Nigeria does not seem to have any obvious problems. However, it has still overtaken India as the country with the maximum number of people whose lives are below the poverty line. So then it goes on into the breakdown. So how wealthy is Nigeria? In order to understand the scale of this paradox, we need to first understand how wealthy Nigeria really is. Firstly, it needs to be understood that Nigeria has the largest oil reserve in Africa. It is the 26th largest economy in the world. Its GDP is greater than many of its more developed African peers, like the Republic of South Africa. The wealth of Nigeria is concentrated in a few hands. The top 5 richest Nigerians own and control more resources than everybody else combined. Also, the pool of Nigerian millionaires grew by 44% in the past decade. So, 44%. How poor is Nigeria? Nigeria also has some of the most crushing poverty rates in the world. 120 million out of their 200 million population live under $1 a day. In the interior regions of Nigeria, subsistence is a major problem. 75% of the youth population below the age of 25 is unemployed. The Nigerian economy ranks the 121st in the world in terms of per capita income, despite being the 26th largest economy. 20% of the children in Nigeria do not live to their 5th birthday due to lack of basic facilities. Most Nigerian citizens have no access to water, electricity, or any other basic infrastructure. So, reasons behind Nigeria's poverty. Uh, it is strange that so much wealth, it is strange that so much wealth and so much poverty coexist in the same country. Some of the reasons behind this coexistence have been listed below. Population. The number of people in Nigeria is very high. The population is also growing at an alarming rate. Hence, even though the country generates a lot of oil revenue, very little actually reaches the masses. Nigeria has a population of 200 million people, and it produces around 800 million barrels of petroleum per annum. So that's population, poor policies, negligence, and corruption. So attempts to diversify. In the past few years, the Nigerian economy has been a major. In the past few years, the Nigerian economy has seen a major contraction. This is because the government derives more than 75% of its revenue from oil, and the price of oil has plummeted. Hence, the government is now diversifying to other sectors such as telecom. The government is focusing on the service sector since it employs more people, which reduces the overall unemployment rate. However, the effort is too little and too late. At the present moment, the Nigerian economy is a perfect example of how, despite having so many resources, the country is still mired in poverty. So that gives us that.
Mm. I
Let
think
me give
okay,
you
go
one
ahead.
more, and then I'll
Mm.
get out. This one now, it charts the. I think I was sharing this with you off screen. So let me share this with you on screen, and then I'll let you carry on with your conversation. Um, so this now lists the richest countries in 2023. I think we were having a look at this off screen,
Yeah,
weren't we, to Niger?
yeah,
So
yeah.
richest countries in Africa. So many of the world's poorest nations are in Africa. Numerous African economies are unstable, poverty widespread, and poor access to vaccine, etc., etc. Uh, so let's go to this paragraph. It says using gross domestic product GDP to measure the wealth of African countries. Whilst there are several ways to compare various nations' wealth, one of the best methods is to evaluate each country's gross domestic product GDP. This is the value of all goods and services produced by a nation in a given year. To make a country to country comparison more precise, GDP is often first adjusted for purchasing power parity, which is PPP, which modifies each country's GDP relative to local prices and expresses a fictional currency called international dollar. So, and let me give you that again. Yes, so that's fine. So you can see it on the screen as well. According to the International Monetary Fund, the top four, the four top African countries posted GDP of more than $500 billion in 2020. So here are the top four richest countries in Africa as at last year. As at 2021. So Egypt leads the field with an economy of $1.38 trillion. Nigeria a close second with a $1.14 trillion. But then South Africa, which comes third, is nearly half the size of the Nigerian economy, $861.93 million. So Nigeria essentially a $1.14 trillion economy to service a 200 million population. So I'll leave it there and let you carry on. So let me get out of your way.
I think thank you for the summary, and I appreciate this in the previous article too. I think on the previous article it was basically saying we have a lot of population, and then we have this thing, our people, we have the money, but somehow we are not rich. I think the key factor he needs to look into there is that per capita income, because GDP per capita is very, very clear. It's telling you that we are not producing, because ours is one of the lowest. We were ranking, I think, 100 and something in the world. Everything else may seem to be rosy and all the rest, but that GDP per capita tells you what is going on.
Sorry, let me even, because one man introduced the PPP, which is per capita purchasing parity, which means £1 can buy me bread, but in Nigeria, the equivalent of 20 pence will buy me a bread. But if you convert the purchasing power parity, that's it, you try and make parity to the price of goods throughout the world, just like that fictional currency. Nigeria is still 5,408 on the average, but Dangote skews the average. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dangote skews the average. So you still need to look at purchasing power parity of an average poor Nigerian, that 133 million people, is perhaps like 1,000 something dollars per capita.
You know what? Oh my goodness! I have to give you credit for that, because that is an interesting point to highlight. Because even in that article, it says that the top four Nigerians own as much wealth as almost all the other Nigerians put together. So that tells you what is going on in that number. Because if you take those four out, then the per capita this GDP will be very, very significantly
lower. It'll be terrible. That's why I said
if you see
use the median numbers instead.
It still says 40%. Nigerian millionaire grows 40% every year. So it's really large compared to other countries. You don't see a lot of countries.
No. If you have 10 millionaires today and you have 14 tomorrow, that's 40%. Don't be looking at percentage relative to what. What's the starting point?
Number now? Like
but the number is low,
I guess.
Yeah. And on the list of top richest countries in Africa, the African one, Nigeria's living standard is the lowest among all that list. If you look at the list, then Ghana's living standard is higher. I don't know about Sudan. Sudan seems to be higher. Definitely, Kenya's living standard is higher than that of Nigerians. Morocco definitely, Algeria higher, South Africa higher, Egypt higher living standard. It tells you that the underlying aspect of the Nigerian economy that should be bigger than all of them by right. You know, it has more natural resources than Egypt. It has more population than Egypt. It should double Egypt's. Let me see. I think I can share it on my own screen. It should double Egypt's population. Actually, when you think about it, it should actually double it. Let me see. Include that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone has ever conducted a study on the total amount of revenue that's being stolen in terms of the amount for inflated budgets, and then, I mean, in Nigeria, if we could ever figure out what that number would be, right? If you can just imagine, you think about the oil being stolen. They said it's been going on for decades, and then the other point there that Obi was talking about is a bridge that typically should cost 100 million to build in Nigeria is 500 million. So that's 400 million stolen just from one project. You know, if you think about all the projects that Kolata just rattled off, you know, the lithium manufacturing, and everything else, and every single one of those things would have overinflated budgets to not by a little bit.
Well,
You know how we do it.
Izon, do you know that overinflated budget too is in the United States, in government contracts in the
100%,
United States?
100%. But at the very least, in the United States, right? It may not be perfect, but there are certain checks there, and there are certain safeguards there. That,
but it's still massively inflated in the US.
Yeah, but compared to Nigeria, that United States, you can do it, but like you said, the income levels, the opportunity for self-improvement, the access to funds. I mean, people are creating things and getting access to money, and entrepreneurship is big. So even with that, they still have an environment where people are making money. But the Nigerian situation, the GDP per capita, and then you compare that to the fact that you're trying to build the most basic projects, and then they're stealing like over 400 million on one little bridge.
Can I come in gradually? Yes. Sorry, good morning. Good morning. It's been morning. I just couldn't speak because of meetings I was having. We are too focused on the wrong things.
Sorry, guys, I'll join you back. I have a call to you.
We are focused on the wrong things.
Thank you for coming in,
I keep hearing, briefly, budget inflation or budget padding, right? Now, we need to understand some specific parameters and get it clear. Our budget is already in deficit, and it has been in deficit for a long while. Most of the budget items, or what you could say the budget lines, right, are recurrent expenditures. And I know many of us understand what recurrent expenditures is. Regardless of whether it is being padded or not, recurrent expenditures are expenditures that will occur, which includes salaries, travels, assets like office desks and the rest, printers, newspapers, and those expenses are recurring. There's also capital expenditures for those who will be involved in doing some projects and the rest. Guys, whether you are in padding it or not, right? It has been budgeted and it has been approved. We keep saying, oh, stealing. It doesn't matter. We are not generating enough money. We are borrowing. And according to IMF, World Bank, PwC, even the Ministry of Finance and the budget, I just went to the budget. How are we financing our budget? Revenue through from oil, royalties, taxes, which we are not doing enough, stamp duties, which is declining, and then we are going to borrow. We are borrowing and proceed from privatization, which I think is I have not seen any public corporation that has been privatized except NNPC, and it wasn't privatized; it was just changed from being a public or a government corporation into a private one. There was no fund, no payment. So process from privatization is less to non-existence. So we are borrowing to finance the budget. We are not generating enough income. So guys, I want us to remove our mindsets from the thefts, whether they are stealing or not. Remove our mindset from it. We're a poor country. We're broke. We're really broke.
Wait, let me ask you a question.
Okay,
let me ask you a question. Sorry, 2NAIJA.
Go ahead.
Based on what you just said, I think we're having two different conversations here. So you're saying that the budget we have is being borrowed, and that's how we're using to finance government, and we're not generating enough revenue as a government.
We're not generating enough revenue to finance our budget.
Yeah, I'm just recording you just to make sure I have what you said correctly.
Yes.
Now, so based on that, right? If we're not generating enough revenue from the government, and the revenue, some of the revenue that we're meant to be generating, and by the way, that argument you made is a valid argument. Our government is not functioning as a revenue generating source, which it should be, as most governments around the world. But that argument you made is a valid
even the
argument.
United States, their budget is in deficit.
No, but their government generates significant
there's nothing
revenue.
wrong with a budget deficit, right? As long as
I'm not talking about. You see, again, you're having a different conversation here. I'm not talking about a budget deficit. I'm talking about governments around the world, the ones that are efficient, have figured out how to generate revenue.
Okay.
Even if they have a deficit as a country,
Yeah,
their
I agree with
government
that. Yes,
structure.
I agree with that.
Yes, I went to school in the US. I know what I'm talking about. Their government structure generates significant revenue. Now, Nigerian government structure, you mentioned taxes, we're not collecting enough of that. You're correct. You mentioned privatization, we're not collecting enough revenue from that. You're correct.
No.
But
Privatization is not, you don't collect revenue from privatization. It's a one-off thing, right?
okay. So, but we're not getting revenue from that. We're not getting revenue from that.
You want to sell.
Wait. We're not getting revenue from that sector. That was the point you're trying to make, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying you're correct. So now the point that we are making here is the little areas that were meant to get money from, right? That will maybe help create other areas that additional revenue can be generated, or maybe a more efficient government can be set up where it can create money. We're not even getting those, right? So, like for instance, we talk about the oil, and we talk about the oil theft that's been going on for decades. And I was just mentioning to 2NAIJA that we don't even know what that number is. The total volume of theft from that, just that one, I'm sure it goes into the trillions of dollars if it's been going on for decades, right? And now imagine what that would mean in a Nigerian government if it's implemented correctly. That's the point that we are making when we talk about the theft. I think the points you made about borrowing money, valid. Government not functioning as a revenue source, valid. But what we should have been getting with our inefficient government, we're not even getting those, right? They're stealing those, right?
Okay.
Local governments get allocated money, and the local government chairmen don't have decision-making power on how to spend the money, right? So it's a totally broken system. But I digress.
I'm not sure the local government don't have the power. Once they have the money, I think they can do as they please with their money. The local government, that's
the state governors tell them how to spend their money.
That's the state governor.
My cousin was the local government chairman.
They should be complaining now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they get the money. Local government chairman, they operate at the mercy of their state governors. That's what Buhari was complaining about. That everyone's complaining about development, but then all the local governments, they can't do anything with their money because the state governors are overwhelming them. The state governors will remove local government chairman in a heartbeat.
Governors are extremely powerful, and this is one of the things I tell Nigerians. You have to learn to hold your governors accountable too. That said, about the theft, I think there are some theft that is going on within the economy, like when they give you projects to do, they don't do it very well. But for me, that part is emblematic of almost any system that is in any country. The reason why ours seems to be magnified is because the country is not developed and we are poor. And our poverty is coming mostly, one, we are not very productive. And the little money we are getting, we are using it to enrich other people, really, because our crude oil, half of it is stolen and ended up in foreign banks. We use the money that we get to buy petrol too and literally the petrol, the crude oil they take from us, they process it and sell it back to us at a higher rate. And then we'll go into the country and spend more money to subsidize again, and then it gets stolen again. Some of the petrol is actually stolen to be sold in neighboring countries, and most of those money that is gotten from there doesn't even make it back to the Nigerian economy. So
we're in this way. Let me give my summation on this. I think we are moving different ways on the conversation. The question is Nigeria rich or poor? The best way to look at it is how do you assess the wealth of a country? There are various ways you could look at it. You could look at the natural resources of that country. You could also look at the productive capacity of the country in terms of their GDP and also per capita. How many, if you divide it by the population. Then if you also want to go through the business routes, you could also look at the net assets, which will also include the assets the company has, inclusive of the revenue it can generate, the debt it owns, which includes of the liability, other liabilities, and then when you subtract it, you look at the net asset. That's the business routes. There you can be able to say, okay, this is the net asset of this company, and this is how valuable this country is, and this is the worth of the country. So from that trade perspective, right, Nigeria is on the negative point. So based on 2NAIJA have said we are not producing enough in terms of our population. In short, it's a shame to us. We have over 220 million Nigerians, and the amount of goods and services we are producing is very marginal. We need more people to start producing.
So, Emeka, what would you say is responsible for why we are not producing enough?
I would say we have so many factors in place. The ease to do business in Nigeria is very tough. We have high interest rates, so the borrowing power to borrow funds or the cost of funds or the cost of finance in Nigeria is very expensive. We also do not have, the government is not supporting the business environment properly, right? Providing like grants or any reduction in taxes, or things to make
But the government is
business.
doing all that, especially when you said about the in terms of regulation. I think regulation is a strong one in Nigeria that has been
Regulation,
quite
yes.
handicapping Nigerians. However, in terms of incentives, the government does incentivize businesses by lower tax rates. And
No, our tax rate is still one of the highest.
What
It's
in
still our
Nigeria?
tax rate. Yes, our corporate tax is still one of the highest. Yes.
What is the figure, please?
It's within the 25-27%. It's still one of the highest in the
I will
country.
confirm that because
Yeah.
the truth is, if you are coming in with a company from overseas, you don't get to pay tax for quite a long time. Actually, you have tax holiday in Nigeria.
That's tax rebates when you get some
Yeah.
tax rebate or some moratorium, or it's still part of grants, or tax incentives. Rather, it's under the bracket of tax incentive. That's the right word I was looking for. Giving you a window so that because we all know the early stage of a business is really tough. You have to now if you have like a 5 years window for you to be able to get yourself together and start generating enough profit to start paying taxes. But again, the country is not getting enough taxes or tax revenue. Right, so I will not blame the government on that. But what I would say, each year, each budget, if you keep looking at it, they keep saying they are going to streamline tax administration. They are going to do much better with the taxes, the tax efficiency. It shows a weakness in the tax office, or the weakness in Federal Inland Revenue Services, to be able to ensure that they can identify those who should be paying taxes, get the sufficient taxes they are supposed to pay, and go after those who are not paying taxes. So we need to be able to pay taxes. At least taxable individuals in the country should pay taxes, and that is a loophole in the country. A lot of Nigerians are screaming and shouting and abusing the government. How many of them are actually paying their taxes? So they've not been able to find an efficient way. Now we're almost approaching taxes in the West, right? They've not been able to find an efficient way to be able to capture all taxable individuals in the country, and for them to be able to pay their taxes. Even though you are paying your taxes and you have overpaid, at least return some of them to those who have paid. You understand? So the richest guys in the country do not pay taxes.
Is it not? Sorry, let me just interject a bit. Is it not easier to target things that cannot move, like properties? That's one of the easiest ways to catch
That's
that.
another. I was just going through the IMF website for Nigeria revenue, and one of the item, the revenue, the property tax, clearly, no, not IMF, OECD, the one of the revenue line, property taxes or other property income is zero. And it has been zero for 10 years.
And that is sitting there because that one doesn't run anywhere. You can't dodge property tax. It's right
exactly.
there.
I know Lagos State government introduced something like that during Rajiv Baba Fashola period. I don't know if they are up to it. They were going out to various property owners and telling them to pay their taxes. And a lot of people were kicking back. I don't know if that is in place, but people should begin to pay taxes. That property tax.
2NAIJA, I have to go, but though you're doing a good job. One man might be out of the job. One man might have to go into retirement very early.
Oh, come on, he's not going anywhere.
No, Ajale go. I hear you, sir. Good morning.
So,
hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I did, my brother. I did.
Property tax.
Let me say something on this property tax. Sorry, I say property tax. Taxes. Businesses are paying too much of taxes in Nigeria, and that is not going to help the help the economic growth that we desire or we are expecting. Look, as of today, they have increased it. The corporate tax is increased to 35%.
Yeah, I get it. I think I saw that news.
It's 35%. So
I saw that news.
If you had, some other taxes like withholding tax and and some other taxes, everything goes to around 55 to 60%. That is too much.
I think 35% is too high for corporate tax.
Yes, yeah.
You want to incentivize people to come into the country, not to stifle them.
That's crazy. The problem is because we are not generating enough income.
And
we're not generating enough.
Employment tax is what they should be going after.
We're not generating enough income on taxes. So those corporations, at least you can see them. That's why it has been increased. How many companies actually do pay income tax on their employee to their state?
Can I interject? Can I say
go
something?
ahead.
Yeah, this is UK. Happy New Year, everyone. It's been a long time.
Welcome.
Yeah, I've not been on though I do come, but I haven't come, inside the studio. Well, the problem, I just came back from Nigeria. I just came back on Monday. So when I went to Nigeria, there are a lot of things I was observing. You see these tax issues. In Nigeria, those people who collect tax, do you know that they have their own different receipts? They will collect, then they will share the money and take their own. And anyhow they pay, even if they report zero, the government will accept. So that's one of the issues that is going on. Yeah,
when you say these people who pay, you have to be specific on that.
No. When I say these people, I mean people who they ask to go. The people who go for the money now.
Which people exactly? No, you need to be specific. You can't
the
just
officials.
say,
Now the officials they send.
Which officials?
What?
Which one?
What? I mean, people who I mean, the government officials now.
Tax collectors, yeah.
I mean, the government officials.
You understand? He has to be specific because you know why.
No, the government. I'm talking about the government because
there's only one federal. Hold on, sir. Let me come in. There's only one federal Inland Revenue Service, right? And then there are state revenue. There are state revenue agencies. Hold on, let me educate you because you just made a mistake.
You don't have to educate me. I mean, this is what I saw.
Okay.
With
you just made a mistake.
I hear what you are saying, Emeka. I hear what you are saying. Let him just say what he wants to say because it seems to be he really feels like he needs to say that. This in UK, you can go ahead. Emeka, don't worry, you'll come back.
What I'm saying is that when I went to Lagos to see my cousin, he was telling me about how they do him this. They will send somebody, to come and take the money for maybe like for developing. I know that is something I have to involve. You know that when you pay finish, then not knowing that money have not even reached, you will see another people coming to say that they are from this in the same agency. They will tell you it doesn't concern them. So what he has to do now, he has to go there by himself to pay it directly because some of these people they send, some of them they are just coming there to collect people's money and they don't even take it to the government purse. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you. But sir, we need to be very clear here. A lot of us throw things without perspective or clarity.
No, but this one,
right?
This one
I agree with you. I'm not saying I'm not disputing. I'm not disputing what you are saying. But a lot of what we need to put clarity. When you are saying whoever is going to their office to pay, okay. At least in Lagos State, I'm very aware of Lagos State very well. I worked in Lagos State before I left. Now, in Lagos State, there's Lagos Inland Revenue Service. They do not go to your office except they want to do an audit. And when they are coming to do an audit, it means you are not paying the adequate taxes you should pay. Typically, all organizations or corporate entities and all taxable individuals are expected to pay their taxes. Now, your company, if you are working in a company, your company will be doing that and remitting it every month, right? All for corporate taxes, you remit to Federal Inland Revenue Services. Definitely. Stamp duties, you remit to Federal Inland Revenue Services. Signages, that is with the states. If you are paying signages, that if you are doing advertisement and the rest. Lagos quotes me anywhere. Lagos Inland Revenue Services do not go to offices. It is audit officers that do that from their Lagos LIRS. It is when they feel you are not paying adequate taxes, that is when they will say, okay, we want to see your books. Now, what you might be saying might be local government fines or fees. Yes, I can understand. And there's a lot of racketing going on there. So it now depends on what you need.
Can I ask something?
Okay.
Can I ask something? Can the payments be done electronically? Because that will
That is
cut
what
out
is being done. That is what is being done typically. That's what is being done.
So if they are not seeing the money, then they go into the
they
office.
will
Like,
now
why?
come to your office because you are supposed to pay personal income taxes should be paid to the state. Then the state will take their own cut and remit the remaining to the federal government. So there's a sharing formula. But when you are not doing it, you are supposed to be doing it every month for all employees you've paid, and not all employees, even self-employed individuals, they should be remitting their taxes. But when you are not doing that, that is when they will now come and meet you. Let's say, for instance, now a popular artist who is singing, dancing, and you can see that this guy is bragging on social media and he's saying he has a lot of money. He's displaying his asset and his wealth and his vehicles, luxury vehicles. But they look at their books. This guy is not paying taxes. He should be paying at least capital gain taxes, personal income taxes, and also which other one again that you should be paying? Let me go through that line this again. And you're not paying any.
Does Nigeria have national
that one
insurance?
is benefits. That one is like a social security scheme. Yes, it's part of the disease that you should contribute. Then when you are old, just like what we do.
That's what they use for healthcare and all the rest
of it.
Yes,
when you are old, they cannot be paying you little of that funds as security funds for old citizens, right? You are not doing that. They will visit you and say, okay, chief, you have not been paying your taxes.
Do you see what is on the screen? These guys say property tax will be a disaster in Nigeria. Do you think so? And why?
I don't think so.
No, hold on.
Prince, what is your reasoning?
Hold on. Nigerians are paying property tax already. That is what we know. Yes, that's what.
In Lagos, I think I have a fair idea. Yes,
they are paying property tax. That's what you see. Local government collectors. What do they call it? They call it what is the name they call this thing? They call it one kind of name. I can't remember right now. I can't remember, but they pay.
Then Nigerians
local government collect that property tax.
Okay. So can I just add this? Because when I check the internally generated revenue in Nigeria, we are talking about relatively small amount. I think it's around 1.something trillion naira internally generated revenue in Nigeria. And if that is what we are generating, we are in trouble here. And part of it is because in Nigerian, obviously, currency is depreciated. So no matter how much we generate, that trillion, if it was in the US dollars, that's a lot of money, isn't it? But because it's in naira, it doesn't get far in the real world. So this is part of the problem we are facing here.
I think it should be more. It's not accurately reported by government of India. Yes.
What I would rather want to say, what I would rather want to say is, because currently now it is also very obvious that we need money, is that we are not generating enough money as we should. We should, in vis-a-vis the number of the population we have, we should be generating more. And then we are not putting enough people into productive capacity. We have few companies that are productive. Our manufacturing industry is not strong enough.
Emeka, we are generating a lot of revenue, but they are not accurately reported by government officials.
I will not want to agree with that, right? Yeah, why I say I will not want to agree with that, because if you say we are generating enough and we are not reporting, that is subjective. right? How do we know this? So we will
Because
only go
Nigeria,
to.
okay, I want to tell you how we don't know it. Because there is no transparency in a report of this revenue generation. Even at the federal level, this single account policy they introduce,
IIPIS.
a lot of government agencies are still not paying their revenue to that account. They're still holding on it. So
which agency are not doing that?
A lot of them.
Like, no, please, let's try to be specific. Which one? Because not all agencies are revenue generating agencies. I'm not saying I'm so accurate on the spot, but I can name a few of them, and we don't have a lot of revenue generating agencies. We don't have a lot
Do
of
we know
revenue
how much the
generating
elites, the rich people pay in the country for tax at all? Do they pay tax at all? The richest ones in the country?
That's something that we need to be very sure and certain about. And again, rich people know how to avoid taxes anywhere in the world. P2B was one of them. He created SPVs in the Caribbean, and which place is this again? Where he created it in the name of his daughter, moved funds out. It's clearly go to Premium Times and put P2B tax havens and read about it. Well, he's not paying his fair share of taxes, and when you ask him, he said he's trying to finance, he's redistributing and doing his finances, and because some group of bankers in London advised him to do that. If they advise you to put your hand in the fire, would you go and put your hand in the fire? And yet you are coming here to come and be telling me you're a man of integrity and you have morality.
I'm not sure he's saying that. The truth is,
that's the interview when they confronted him with it. That was what he said.
I know. To be fair to him, that is, he's a rich man. To be fair, he's a rich man, and this is what they generally do. They give it to venture capitalists or whatever they call them. They start parceling
Private
up money
wealth individuals. Yeah, he was saying Lloyd's Bank. Yes, Lloyd's Bank. A bunch of bankers in Lloyd's Bank came and advised you that we can help you with your tax planning and the rest. And you know, because that's what they do with rich people, so that they can get caught. So they move your diverse, create fictitious companies outside the country, offshore, and move your funds, and you are not remitting enough taxes to the country. And yet you come here and you say same individual will be criticizing the government when you are not doing your own fair share.
I think Peter Obi, to be fair to him, most of some of his business were based overseas. I think that's why he was.
Which one? They just closed the one in the UK. Which one is based again on you? It's only in the UK
at that
and
time
Nigeria.
now. At the time when this happened, so one has to be fair.
Only in the UK, the one in the UK was mainly for that purpose. Only UK and Nigeria. The one in UK, they closed it because he was not doing his company returns.
There's a reason why he has a high credit rating in the UK. When he was there, he was already doing business in the UK long time ago.
I'm not denying that he wasn't doing any business in the UK, but they closed that company because he was not making his annual returns. Then now in Nigeria, you are not paying your due tax. Let's leave that. Let's not go into politics over this matter. What I'm trying to say here is that we are not generating enough revenue. Up from the revenue aspect of it, on the GDP part of it, we do not have enough people producing in their capacity that they should produce. A lot of Nigerian citizens are not in full production capacity. They are just laying about. So
the question now is, okay, let me just slow it down a bit, because there are two aspects to this. One, the resources that Nigerian elites have in the country that are probably not being taxed enough, including their wealth. Maybe there should be a form of wealth tax, because we all know what they have in their account.
They are not generating anything. What tax is there?
Because the reason why wealth tax is important, it forces them to spend into the economy instead of just hoarding money. And secondly, the ones that have resources overseas. Sure, there are three things actually. The ones that have resources overseas, they like, we know that many of the presidential candidates, they have houses and all the rest overseas, and they are not contributing to the Nigerian economy. So there is the aspect that Nigerians that are working overseas, the Nigerian government doesn't tax them at all. The US government tax their citizens that work overseas, but Nigerian government, you leave Nigeria, that's the end, though. They don't know who you are anymore. And
because there's a treaty, right? there's a treaty to avoid double taxation, right? So they will do the balance of it, also in the US. Also because all US citizens and residents are expected to pay taxes for all income generated, whether in the US or anywhere in the world, right? But if you are now working probably in Dubai, and you are a US citizen, due to the treaty, they will do the balance of, and the net of it, whoever is owing from the tax agencies will be the one to remit back to your country of origin or your country of citizenship, right? It happens. So I'm not the one,
does
because
Nigeria have that
I am generating income currently
Does Nigeria
now.
have the arrangement, that same
Yeah.
arrangement?
We all do. There's all the tax treaties everywhere. Especially, we all have expatriates in the country. Definitely.
Are you positive that we actually do? Not that this is what they do. Maybe
Is
Nigerians are not
there?
doing that, because when
So
we talk about it,
what
we
I
are not
what I
seeing
would
it in
say
the
is,
records.
are we going after companies countries to find out, okay, Nigerian residents who are there, right? Now you're a permanent resident. I think you stay in the UK, or I don't know where you stay.
Yeah, in the UK, and
Yeah, you're a permanent resident in the UK. You pay your taxes on all income you generate in the UK to the crown. You do that. Okay. Now you are also a Nigerian citizen, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, you are expected to also pay taxes to Nigeria as a Nigerian citizen. But because of that, will be double taxation. So there's these tax treaties that, okay, for our citizens that are in Nigeria, working in Nigeria currently, they will pay taxes in Nigeria. For your citizens in the UK, working in the UK and paying taxes in the UK, at the end, we will do a net off.
Yes.
Who is owing?
Are you positive that is actually happening? That's what I'm
I
curious
would
about.
presume it happens. I would presume.
Why
but
would you presume that, though? That is
I would presume because
Nigerians,
I don't work.
They let the ball down. Nigeria. The reason why I say that, because we have so many Nigerians in America and so many Nigerians in the UK.
Undocumented.
No, many of them, like 60,000 went from Nigeria. They are documented. 63,000 went from Nigeria just last year alone.
Yes,
so they
documented.
See, as long as you hold Nigerian
Definitely.
passport, as long as you hold Nigerian
documented,
passport,
definitely. Undocumented, you can't account for them. But what usually happens, in order
how
to
do you mean
avoid,
documented?
when you are documented, you have your papers and you are remitting your taxes. What usually happens is there will be a net off. There'll be a net off. Even sometimes they will like, okay, no problem. Let them just keep paying taxes wherever they are. So that's basically, if you go
as
the
a Nigerian
tax
now.
treaties.
Hold on and slow down. As a Nigerian now, if I work in the UK and the UK, I pay income tax to the His Majesty here. Nigeria will do their summation and get their money back from the UK. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying, based on tax treaty, is it's a cumbersome situation. Now and let's say we have over 3 million Nigerians in the UK. Roughly, I don't know, it might be more, it might be less. I'm just giving a rough estimation. 3 million Nigerians in the UK, working in the UK and paying their taxes in the UK. Now, we also now have roughly, let's say we have 300,000 UK residents in Nigeria, working in Nigeria and paying the taxes in Nigeria. What would happen at the end of the year? There will be a net off, right?
Yes.
Now, that treaty might even be, okay, you know what? We will not do any net off. Let them continue paying taxes wherever they are resided. And if they eventually return back to their country.
Now, you see, now you are talking. You see, now that is what I'm curious about. Because one, we know we have more Nigerians in the UK than UK nationals in Nigeria. And we have more Nigerians in America than we have Americans in Nigeria. In other words, Nigeria should be getting a net income from this instead of going the other way around. Are we seeing that in our national revenues?
Basically, that should happen. But that depends on the tax treaty that you have in different countries.
Where is that done? What are you guys talking about? How could Nigerians? What are you guys talking about? How could Nigerians working in UK paying taxes in UK, and you still want them to come and pay taxes in Nigeria? What?
No. Wait.
Are you guys serious?
John Lekoko is not
No,
like it.
Augusta,
Yes.
typically, right, without a tax treaty, if you don't have any
What do you
tax
mean by
treaty,
tax? Where have you seen
tax.
that
Let me
done?
let me explain now. We are looking
Do
at
you
it
know
from
what
a.
double taxation means?
That is what I am saying. Maybe you were not listening. That without a tax treaty, that is what is obtainable. With a
Where
tax
have you
treaty,
seen tax treaty? Where?
there are tax treaties
When?
everywhere. There are tax
Where?
treaties everywhere in the world. Every
What do
country
you mean?
maintains
Explain what
tax
tax
treaties.
treaty means.
A tax treaty
Explain it
is
to
an
me.
agreement. A treaty is an agreement between both countries,
On
right? On
taxes.
specific
That
things that they
Nigerian working
want.
in UK paying their taxes
Hold
in
on, sir. You
UK,
are taking this to the
and they
extreme.
will be paying taxes to Nigerian government
Augusta,
again. Where
please
is that
don't,
done?
sir. Please don't quote me. Don't
No,
misquote me.
hold on.
Don't misquote me. You are interjecting and you don't want me to explain.
No, you are talking too much. Hold on.
I'm not talking
Let
too much. I am
somebody
explaining, but
interrogate
you
you.
don't want me to explain.
Okay.
You don't want me to explain.
Let's just
Okay.
let Ajaneko just go. You know you've been talking, so but you will get back to you. Go ahead, Ajaneko.
How can you have tax?
Yeah.
Yes. How can you have a tax treaty where Nigerians or American working in Nigeria while paying their taxes in Nigeria, they will still come and pay tax in America, or Nigerian working in UK paying taxes and go and pay? Where is that done? It doesn't even make sense in the first place. And why I say it doesn't even make sense.
The reason why we said that is because American citizens, they pay tax to the US when they work overseas. You see what they are required to do that. You see what I mean? But we have so many Nigerians overseas that we just let go and work for other people. Barely 2-3% of their total income they make from those countries ever make it back to Nigeria. And that's another area that we are losing out on again.
No, that cannot warrant treaties between two countries. Look, on the normal basis, you have to declare your tax at the end of the year. Whether as an American citizen, even you are working in overseas, you have to declare your income. This is how much you make. And that tax system have some kind of how do I say it? That tax system has some kind of credit they will give you if you are working outside American. You know, depending on how much you make, you will still get some kind of credit, some kind of. I don't know much about the way the tax system run. That is the way it runs. It cannot. That wouldn't suggest that countries between two countries they have to sign agreement that okay, your citizen have to know. Even Nigerians, as long as you reside in Nigeria, if you reside in Nigeria and you go and work in Britain and you come back to Nigeria, within that year, when you are declaring your taxes, how much you make from Britain within that short period of time, as long as you're resident in Nigeria, you should be able to declare your tax. I mean, your revenue, your total income, including, I mean, for both you make in Nigeria and what do you call it, in UK. If you are a permanent resident, I'm talking if you are a permanent resident in Nigeria, but for some reason you went to work for some period of months in UK within that year, and the end of the year, you have to declare what you make in UK, in addition to what you make in Nigeria for that year as income, so that our tax system can capture and give you whatever credit or how much they're going to tax you, but not going to for country to be signing treaties and say, okay, let us tax them here and there. It doesn't make sense like that.
Ajane Koko,
But
I think what Emeka is saying, which is interesting because I've never heard that before. These tax treaties that he's highlighting is something that I've not heard of before. But if that is the case, it does it makes some sense. But the question is Nigeria taking advantage of it
No,
enough?
let me further, because
Don't worry,
I just,
don't worry.
when
I will let you go.
Ajaloko
Let me
was
just finish what
speaking.
I'm saying. I will let you go. Let me just finish what I'm saying. Is Nigeria taking advantage of it, or John Lekoko, I think this one you might want to think about, because
But
I feel like we
Nigerians
have a lot
that
of
in
Nigerians
diaspora,
overseas.
Nigerians
Sorry,
in diaspora,
yeah.
that are not resident in Nigeria, they are living 10 years, 20 years in diaspora. How do you want them to come and pay tax in your country? How
Oh
do
no,
you
you
want to
see,
do
that's
it?
my point. It doesn't
They don't work. They don't
see,
work. Hold on.
see, Ajahn Lekoko, see, this is serious for me, because I
No.
really,
Hold
I
on.
get,
Let me finish this.
okay, finish.
The basis of taxation is when you make income in a particular country. But Nigerians in diaspora have run away. They run away. They escape from prison, and you want them to come and pay tax to you that have not given them nothing.
You see, now that's where you made a mistake there.
Yeah.
Nigeria gave them something. Many of them have education from Nigeria that is highly subsidized compared to Western education. And they go there and they start working there. Nigerians don't get anything from it. See, it's bad enough that we are losing so much money from oil and petrol that we are buying from the West. Then we lose the little money we have to train our people up. Then we go and lose our workers over there again. And the truth is, many foreign countries, if their people go overseas, as long as you're carrying their passport, you have to pay tax back to them, because they funded your education, they funded your healthcare, they funded your so many other things.
Did Nigeria give you healthcare when you are in Nigeria?
see, they gave you.
Look at
Come
what
on,
are you talking
Nigeria,
about?
Nigeria gave people education. Many of
For,
them are university educated.
Before you ask or demand for taxation from your people, you must give them something on regular basis in return.
That's not true, sir. That's not true.
Hold on. Let me finish. On regular basis,
How
you
about
should be able to give them
somebody,
something.
They fed themselves. The food that was generated, they didn't get it from America. That made them become adults that they travel to America. The food was generated in Nigeria. So all those things, it's like, say, Ajahn Lekoko, let me try to relate it in a more human way. It's like you raised a child in your own house and everything. Then the child goes, you know what? Every time he works for some other family, and you just sit there and like, what? What do you think is going to happen? You are going to fester away. Your siblings are going to fester away.
Okay, in the first place, why did your child run away from your house?
Maybe because you're not as rich as the other guys in the family.
No. When you don't take care of your child and your child run away from your house, you don't expect anything from that child. The child that you didn't, hold on, that child, you didn't give him all the necessary things that he needs to grow and succeed.
But that is not how it works in the real world.
Hold on now.
Poor people have children, you know.
Hold on. You don't give that child everything that he requires to grow up well and succeed in life. Compared to other person that supports his child, give him everything, good education, good health care, good housing, everything work well for him to succeed in life. That child will not run away. It will always look back.
I think Oga Ajalokoko needs an introduction in Taxation 101, right? He's saying, this is the statement. This is the sentiment Nigerians always try to say. The sentiment Nigerians will always say that, why should I pay tax to a country that does not give me anything? No.
Yeah,
you need to understand how taxes,
you need to understand
how the introduction of taxes, how taxes came into play from history.
The basis of taxation.
No, sir, you are the one that don't understand it. You need to understand how taxes come into play from history.
Let's take it easy. Come on.
Before you collect taxes,
the kings, hold on, sir, please, let me correct you, because so that people will not take take your
Hold on
words
now.
as
Let me
fact.
finish. You will
No,
come.
sir, I need to
You will
correct you.
get to your turn. You
You are
been
making a
talking
wrong
for
assertion.
about
Ajane
50
Koko,
minutes.
I think you've had some
Let me
say. Let Emeka
You
go
have
let
some
me.
now,
say,
then
and
you
it's
can
my
come back
time. You
again.
don't want me to speak. It's my time. You don't want me to speak. Sir,
You
let
have
me
been
correct
speaking
you.
all this way. Why you don't want other people to speak? Why are you
But
doing
it's
like
my
this?
time. When it comes to your
See,
turn, you
You
speak.
don't ever. You
Ajane
never
Koko, you're
yield
going to get
any
your
time
turn.
for
It's not going
It's
to
anybody.
not
go.
your
And
turn. You
see,
interjected and
Ajane
you are
Koko, I'm not going
hijacking
to allow him
everything.
to
It's
go
my
too long. I'm
time.
not
It's
going to
my
allow him to
time.
go long. You're going to have your chance. Once
It's
he
my
says
time.
it,
You
so
interjected and
try
you
to
are
leave it to
hijacking
me,
it.
please,
And I'm telling you, it's my
Emeka.
time. Let me speak and correct you on what you are saying so that people don't take it as
Emeka,
fact. It's
please
not true.
try to be less combative, please. We are
I'm
trying
not trying
to
to be
get
like,
somewhere.
no, you know why I need to say this is because there are a lot of wrong things that have been said in that country that people have taken as the standard, which is wrong. Tax came from kings, regardless of who you are, a pauper or a nobleman, you must pay your tax to them. Now it's developed over time. It is not that, oh, the king must do something for you before you pay that tax. They behead people for not paying taxes in the old days. So you must pay your taxes to the king, or if it's a woman, to the queen. You must pay it to
Okay.
that church. Now let me explain what I was saying. Without a treaty, without a tax treaty, if you are a resident of Nigeria, you are a citizen of Nigeria, and you relocate, whether they chase you away or you go anywhere, and you go to the UK to work, and you are earning income there, without a treaty, what is expected is that you will pay tax in the UK, as well as you will also pay tax to your government in Nigeria. But now they like, okay, let's avoid double taxation. We don't want that because it's cumbersome. How do we account for this? Tax treaty comes in place. Now, that tax treaty is not an agreement between you and your other countries. You can have a different tax treaty with Spain. You can have a different tax treaty with the UK. You can have a different tax treaty with the United States. But it is an agreement, specific agreement. I have the treaty between Canada and the United States right in front of my system. And they are stating, okay, this is what we are going to do if it is a US company in Canada, you will pay taxes in Canada. No problem. You won't pay any other taxes in the United States. I am reading it here. So without tax treaties, it will be cumbersome for the tax agencies in different countries to begin to do the net off. But what applies is if there's no tax treaty, that is standard. You must pay taxes where you reside as well as where you are from. Now, what may now happen is that if your income is not enough and you have paid the taxes, then probably where you are from will now remit something to you. But without tax treaties, what can happen in the tax treaty? The countries can say, okay, you know what? For our residents in your country, they pay taxes to you. No problem. Don't remit anything to us. For your residents in our country, we'll let them pay taxes to us. We are fine with that. Everybody shakes hands and everybody goes home.
Yeah, and I think what is going on here. Sorry, Angela Koko has something to say, doesn't he? So please, Angela Koko, you can go.
Okay, 2NAIJA. What he is suggesting is never practiced anywhere in the world. If you know countries where they have tax treaty, it should tell us.
I just told you I am reading the tax treaty now between Canada and the United States, and they are telling me article number 8, business profit. The business profit of a resident of a contracting state shall be taxable only in that state unless the resident carries on business in the other contracting state that through a permanent establishment situated therein. I'm reading it verbatim. Tax treaty, see it. Hold on. I can't. Convention between Canada and the United States of America with respect to tax on income and on capital. That's a
Emeka, if
tax
you can
treaty.
provide a link so that I can share it so Angela Koko can have evidence.
I'm speaking through my phone. Maybe if I try to log on to the laptop, I'll send it. Let me see if I can log in on my laptop.
Double
What
tax
you don't know.
treaties.
What you don't
You're
know.
talking to a chartered accountant.
Okay, Mr. Chartered Accountant, Cabo. What you don't know is that United States and Canada, there is no difference between them. You can see them as different countries, but you go to Canada, you see that the way the system run, even you look at their road, you look their educational system, everything is the same as Canada. So when this thing you are reading now if we really want to interpret it, it's not going to be the way that you are saying it. If
Let me
CPA,
send this link to you. I'll send this link now.
if CPA really want to interpret what you are reading now, it's not going to be the way you are trying to say it to us. But what I'm saying, yeah.
Just to interject quickly, we should give Emeka a bit of a credit for even highlighting the idea, because I didn't even know that they had this type of tax arrangement sometimes, because they call in the UK they call it double tax treaties, so between citizens. So, but I don't know why they see, that's the thing. Some of all these intricacies, we as a nation, most of us are not even aware of it, and we have millions of our citizens overseas, and they are not paying money back to Nigeria in any way. This is maybe another area we are hemorrhaging resources.
No, look, let me tell you, taxes, as I'm telling you, he was making reference to kings, that whether you work or you don't work, kings. We are not living in the king's world. We are living in a world where democracy is practiced. And as such, the freedom that democracy gives the citizen, and the rights that it gives them is not what used to be operating, what used to operate rather during the time of King James in England. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the basis of taxation is on income. How much? If you don't make not funding, you cannot be taxed. You should be given relief, because there must be reason why you are not making income. Government have to give you some kind of assistance, some kind of relief for you to be out of that, economic, the bottom line where you are. And taxation is paid in different ways. If you go to the grocery store to buy something, you pay sales taxes. That's a taxation by itself. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that government must be able to function well in such a way that they will render their own responsibility well in the country, so the advantage of the people for them to ask for taxes from them. If government created an enabling environment for businesses to flourish, definitely government will be able to get taxes from them and generate revenue from there. But when you don't create an enabling environment, how will you be able to, businesses will not be able to flourish and you'll be able to make revenue. The same to individual in the country. Government have some responsibility to deliver to the people in the country. When government deliver to that responsibility, that will make it possible for government to ask for taxes. And I will make reference, when in the First Republic, when Obafemi Awolowo introduced free education, don't let me say First Republic, before First Republic, that was in 50-something, when he introduced free education in the West. He increased the taxation of the people. It was that taxation that he uses to give them education. But when you don't give free, you don't give your people something, you can't be able to get taxes from them. That is the basis of taxation. Government must function well to the advantage of the people, so that people will be able to pay their taxes. Government will create jobs. It will create an enabling environment for private businesses to flourish well, and they can hire people. The more people that
Ajane Koko, Ajane
employment,
Koko,
the
Ajane
more
Koko,
government.
can I add something? I think your argument is not what the world is following, because they clearly know that when somebody grows up in a country and they educate them in a country, there are consequences to it when they move to another country. And this kind of stuff could have led to wars, or in a case where nations actually prevent their citizens from traveling. To enable that to happen so that people can be able to move freely, they had to have this type of arrangement whereby if your citizen leave for your country and go to somewhere else, then you have to have a way of making them pay back to your country. This is why they have these these treaties. If you look at on the screen, they said Nigeria has treaties with all these countries. I noticed that there's no US there, and the Nigerian population in the US is the highest in any of the countries, and US is not present on that list, because I actually saw this
Please
one
use
here.
the IFRS one, right?
Yeah,
Yes, there's no treaty.
this one
Even
is
if you
UK.
go,
Nigeria is here. Look at
yeah,
Nigeria's one here. Nigeria
even in
has
the one
treaty
I
with the
sent for
UK.
the US, there's no tax treaty between the US and Nigeria. So
Yeah,
from IRS, check.
and we are losing a lot of money because of that. Because we have more Nigerians in the US than Americans in Nigeria. You see, this type of things is where you start seeing, and America is being dodgy. And also, even the ones we have with these countries, we have not even looked at this in the numbers, because sometimes, because they have a upper hand, they will make it so that we still lose out heavily. All these things is where we are hemorrhaging resources and we don't even notice it. You see what I mean? And we are talking about how rich the
Okay,
country is.
let me tell you this. The way America operates their tax system is different from other countries. Even within America, there are something that you will buy from another state, from one state in America, that you pay your tax in that state. Maybe you buy, for example, let's say you buy a vehicle from one state, and you paid your tax, state tax and other taxes there on top of your, the actual amount that you bought it, and you are taking that vehicle to another state. When that vehicle landed in the other state, you don't have to pay tax, because that will amount to double taxation, because you already pay tax on it on another state where you are bringing that vehicle. So what I'm trying to tell you, due to American way of taxation, I won't think that America will agree to that. People that already paying their taxes here, they're American, though they are Nigerian American, and you want them to sign an agreement with you that, we will ensure that as they are paying taxes to us here, they will be paying some form of taxes to you over there. No, it's not gonna be possible here. It's not that America is dodgy or something. That is unfair. That is double
Of course,
taxation, and
it's not. Ajane Gogo, it's not double
no.
taxation.
Hold on. When people
Okay.
make money, and they pay their fair share in terms of taxation to the country where they reside. I don't reside in your country called Nigeria. I don't live there. Why should I pay taxes to you? I don't.
But see, Ajane Gogo,
No, hold
that's
on.
not how it works. Come on,
No,
you know.
you are proposing a draconian way of getting taxes from people. That is, you don't. It's never done. There are
But
a
that's what
lot
they
of
do
things.
to
It is
us. That's what they
no.
do to
Hold
us.
on. Hold
That's
on.
what they do to each other. They know
Your
this.
country have to develop a way to make your country attractive to your citizen abroad to come and invest back home. That is what you can do.
Yeah, but
You
that
have
is
to do
true. That is true. That's
yes.
one.
Hold on. When you have lazy people in position of authority, that don't know how to attract their assets from abroad. I'm talking about we, the citizen in diaspora, how to attract us to come and invest home, and thereby, helping the country economically, and from there they can make more money, generate more taxes. When they don't do that, then forget about it. I'm not going to work in the United States and say because I love Nigeria and I want to pay taxes that some people will eat up and they won't be able to use it well to the advantage of Nigerian people. Where is that done? Can you do it yourself?
I think yes, that's what they do. I will happily pay my tax that goes to Nigeria here.
I will not pay my tax.
Why would you? Come on, see, Ajane Koko, tax is the fundamental. No, let me make this point because so that you understand the significance of what tax means. Because I think we miss it because we see it as a bad word. Tax is the foundation of all civilizations. Without tax, there is no civilization. And if you want your country to do well, tax has to be there. That is how you use. That's what is used to build the country. If your people that you educate and grow up in your country go to another man's country, and you don't have any system of getting resources back from them, then you're going to see government starts preventing their people from moving. You see what I mean? Because why would you raise a child for the child to go and start treating this working for other people and reaching other families? That child will destroy your family in the end.
Hold on, I agree with you that it is good to pay taxes, but taxes that you pay that does not come with accountability and transparency, then you are just throwing your money in the trash. When you have irresponsible, corrupt people in the position of authority that cannot account for taxes that you pay, that are not transparent for you to see, to know how much that is collected, that cannot even use the taxes well to the advantage of the people, to kill poverty, to build infrastructure, and to do a lot of things for Nigerian people, but rather using that taxes to the advantage of themselves, alone, they make so much money. The pay for government officials, I'm talking about the senators and governors, and all the entitlement that they give to themselves. And you want me, when I see how much they are making, when you see politicians making money than professor, making money than engineer, making money than the best of the best brain in the academic world, than scientists. Oh man, no.
But that is a different matter from saying
no,
it
matters.
Good afternoon, guys.
Are you seeing China there? Are you seeing China? China is even has signed up, but America is not there, and we have more Nigerians in America than any other country in the world.
2NAIJA, it's actually a problem, right? Because what this means, since we don't have a tax treaty with the United States, that those even in Nigeria, those even in the embassy in the United States, right, that are in Nigeria.
Sorry, you're going to speak now. Let Emeka just say something briefly.
The United States citizens in Nigeria, even the guys signing your visa, do not pay taxes in Nigeria. Because in the United States, you pay taxes on worldwide income. So which means their taxes is remitted directly to the United States, even though it is being generated in Nigeria. And the fees we pay for visa and all those services we provide to them, right? They do not pay a single dime, which also means that United States companies in the country do not pay taxes to Nigeria. They remit everything back to the United States because there's no tax treaty. And this is a problem because we have, like, I can agree with Mr. Ajale Koko, inefficient ministers of foreign affairs and the minister for trade that cannot go to the United States government and discuss with them on establishing tax treaties that will be efficient for us to make income, especially for United States companies and United States employees in the country.
Okay, thank you, Omega. I think
Major,
you want to come in here.
Naija, let me say
let me
this.
quickly say
I will yield
something.
to another person. Look,
Bramberry wanted to say something because I think
I will yield to him. Give me 1 minute, Bramberry,
Okay.
please. 1 minute, please, Bramberry. All right. Here, I'm running my business here, right? I struggle hard. I work for so many years. And I struggle hard to raise money and start my own business. Americans gave me loans. Americans gave me all the support to succeed in that business. And I'm paying my taxes to the revenue department as at when due. And at the end of the year, I find my taxes and whatever that is due to me to pay, I pay it. So America supported me to succeed running my business, and I'm paying my tax. So at the end of the year, without getting any support from Nigeria, I have to pay taxes to Nigeria. I mean, you got to check, you got to put 1 + 1 together to get the answer. If that even makes sense at all. For the fact that I'm a Nigerian citizen, does that mean that wherever I go, I have to serve Nigerian to death? Is that what citizenship mean?
Yes, sir. That means
Actually,
that makes
that's
you
what
a
it
patriot.
means.
Hold on.
That's what it means. It makes you a patriot.
Hold on. No. Citizenship doesn't mean that. And particularly when you're already a citizen of another country. Nigeria is a country that have not given Nigerians nothing. So people will not look back at that country. In fact, the money we are sending back home is what is sustaining that country to exist financially.
Sorry, Ajane Koko. Okay,
let me leave it there. So, but this idea of that America will to Americans is dumb. It doesn't make sense. Is the foolishness idea for people while working in America, paying their taxes and to be paying taxes to another country back when they are not on lease. Are we lease workers? Did Nigeria lease us to American?
Basically, that's what
are
happens.
We slaves? I'm telling you, are we
the truth is Americans that come to Nigeria
hold
to
on.
take our oil and all the rest. Nigeria is giving them benefits.
No, hold on.
So
are we in America as a slave?
You are a citizen, not a slave. Are you not carrying the green passport?
Forget about that thing. Do you think
Americans are carrying their own American passport? They pay back to America. That's what people do. When you have this type of mindset, you wonder why your country is poor.
What is the value of your passport in the world?
The value of your passport is your very heritage. It might not be valuable in terms of financial terms. You belong to a club called Nigeria. You pay your taxes to the club. And besides, it's not just a club. It's where your heritage comes from, your forefathers. That's where they came from. You need to pay back to it. That is what people do.
Anyway, let me just abandon
I think, has he gone now? Where is he?
Let me use for Granberry.
I think has he gone? I think he's gone. The guy probably got tired of getting shelved aside.
Oh, okay, let me use to someone else. But I think it's a dumb idea. It doesn't make sense. Nobody will even like to hear it. Your government.
I disagree with you on that one, though. Bramberry, please come back. I think so that you can have your say.
Your government must look for another way to make your country attractive to your people in diaspora to come and invest back home. That is the way. That is the best way for them
So that's the best.
That
You
is the
you
best
believe
way.
that that's the best way to increase Nigeria's this in the productivity and that's
Oh yeah,
well.
that's the
That
best
works.
way, because a lot of Nigerians will travel back home. A lot of Nigerians will return back home. You know, go and settle
I
back
agree.
home,
That is one of
and
the
doing
ways, and I
that,
think that's one of the
and doing
major
that,
ways, really.
and doing that, that is the more easiest way. Doing that, we stimulate economic growth. You will be able to get more money to function as a country, because Nigeria can, return a lot of their assets and resources back home to develop that country. But when you don't
Yeah,
make the country attractive to them, look,
I agree
we'll be
with you,
losing out.
Prince
Yeah.
Ajela Koko. But
Yes.
again, you are a U.S. citizen, right? Let's say perhaps now the United States and the Nigerians are encouraging diasporans to come back home to start up business. And as a businessman, you moved over to Nigeria. You are still a U.S. citizen because Nigeria accepts dual citizenship. You are in Nigeria. You set up a business and start yielding income. Who will you pay your taxes to?
Bramberry is back. Bramberry is back. Okay,
He's back.
let
Okay, let's give him.
me just buttress what
Let's give Bamberry
Ajahn
chance.
Lekoko said quickly. I will just play this for very, very few seconds so that we don't violate anything. So that I'll buttress the point Ajahn Lekoko just made very quickly. Just listen to this quickly. Let's see whether this will play as we'll expect it to.
Freaking brilliant bet that solved all their problems at once. At the time, a bunch of engineers in Taiwan were actually leaving Taiwan to go to the US, to go to university there, and then to actually work for US companies in the cutting-edge microchip economy. Texas Instruments, Intel. So the first thing the Taiwanese government does is lure them back. They guarantee them jobs, they pay for their travel costs, they give them tax breaks to create companies. Their goal is to create a Silicon Valley in Taiwan.
So we all know the end of the result of that. The result of that is the Taiwan you see today, that is the center of manufacturing chips in the world. This is what you do to get this thing, the foreign this thing, your citizens that have left the country to come back to this thing invest. And I think Ajahn Lekoko is right on that one, because that change transformed Taiwan for sure. So sorry, Brown Berry, go. One man, I apologize for that. I just thought I had to buttress the point Ajahn Lekoko was making. They're not going to flag you for that. It's too short. Okay, Brown Berry, please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. This is not where I'm going, but I'm just going to quickly touch on what Emeka said regarding that Nigeria, that the American citizens that work in the embassy back in the US, back in Nigeria, do not pay tax to Nigeria. That's true. Likewise, Nigerian citizens that was sent from Nigeria to work in our embassies here do not pay tax to Canadian or to American. They do not pay tax there. They pay their taxes back home. And you also said that American companies in Nigeria do not pay taxes to Nigerian. That's untrue, sir. But I just want to leave that one there. But what I'm saying regarding this, we are just running on the cycle regarding these taxes here and there, because the problem that we have as an Africa and as Nigeria is that how many people knows about these things? Most people get to the West before they know about how they should be paying their taxes and stuff. How many people know about it? Okay, everything that we are talking about here, whether we talked about it yesterday, a month ago, 2 months ago, boils down to leadership. The video you just showed to 2NAIJA, it shows that it was the leadership that set that trend. They said, this is how you will be doing it. Everything, whether our people become Yahoo today, whether they become good, whether they become a nuisance, they become kidnappers, whatever they've become, it all boils down to failure of leadership over time.
But you have to understand that the people generate the leaders. The leaders come from the people. If the people have that mindset, like now, we are all generating the mindset amongst us. 2-3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought about this like this. So that is, if the people start having that kind of consciousness, you're going to start producing leaders that think like that.
Okay, but in the beginning, it wasn't so.
Yeah.
When Nigeria was starting, it wasn't so. We had good leaders coming up. So and it started changing. But the reason I'm saying this now, this orientation agency they say they have in Nigeria, they are not doing their job. They have to go. I mean, they have to be everywhere in the primary school, secondary school. There's a lot to be done because most people don't know their right from their left. Okay, so we are just saying these taxes there, and people don't know. People don't even know what they are doing because at the end of the day, like I said, leader leads, people follow. Everywhere in the world, leader leads, people follow. If the leader leads them astray, everybody just be doing. I just return, like somebody else said. I also returned back from Nigeria. There is no government in the state where I came from. There is no government. Everybody's just doing. There's no government anywhere. Okay, even the little thing that the government was able to put on the street, what was called street lights, people do not obey it.
Can I
if you stand
ask
there,
him a question?
so
He can continue, but can I ask him a question?
Go ahead.
So, is ignorance of the law an excuse?
Nobody is saying ignorance of the law. Who knows this thing? How many people? Come on,
That's what I just asked you.
Ignorance is not. Ignorance is not. I mean, ignorance is not an excuse. Of course, it's not an excuse.
Exactly.
If you
Fantastic.
commit a crime, you can't say ignorance is an excuse.
If you go to in front of a competent judge, the judge will tell you ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
But you and I,
we all know.
We all know
tax not paying your taxes is tax evasion, and tax evasion is
we
a
know
crime.
that. Of course, we know that. But you and I know that most people in Nigeria do not even know what you and I are talking about. Because
I agree with you. I'm not disputing that.
It was not
I'm not
set down.
that.
It was not set down. People don't understand these things, and these things should be taught everywhere.
But again, in law, the onus is on you, the individual, to know what you should do, the appropriate thing you should do, the right thing you should do. You should be the one to educate yourself, right? That's why they keep saying ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
You are talking in the elitist level. That's what you are talking in that.
No,
area right now.
I could argue it both ways.
He's talking from a macro level, which often is more consequential, actually.
Exactly. Because if you go in front of a competent judge for tax evasion, and you say, nobody educated me, no orientation agency, nobody said I should pay my taxes, the judge will tell you that ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and you will pay taxes, you will pay the taxes owed, you will pay the interest owed, you will pay fine, and then you will serve jail time. So let's not start giving excuses.
Look, hold on. I'm not even talking about people evading taxes. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that most of our people do not know anything about this thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
and that's why this program is on now, so that we can educate them too.
This program, how many parts this program get into?
Sorry, Man of Prestige is saying that Nigeria is very rich. I don't know where you got the idea. Let me see the link. It says Nigeria is very rich, richer than all African countries. But how do you know or measure a country's riches? You just said Nigeria is very rich. If you have any real argument to say that Nigeria is very rich, I would like to hear it, because if there is money that we don't know exists that we are not tapping into, we want to know about it. Because so far, all the numbers from almost everybody here indicates that we are not rich. We are a poor country, and until it sinks in properly, then maybe we will start looking for a way out of it properly. Because then when they ask people to chip in, to contribute to stuff in their country, they're not going to go and start saying, where's our crude oil money? Because crude oil money is not enough.
Yeah.
It's simply not enough.
Let me say something there. I think it's right. Nigeria is a very rich country. There are a lot of ways you can measure that. In terms of population, we are very rich. In terms of natural resources, we are very rich. In terms of
those are potentials, sir. That's not actual. Those are potential.
Hold on. In terms of economic, the large size, the size of our economy, we are very rich. But we don't manage all those resources well, and that is why we are poor. It's not well managed. But on the physical aspect of it, we are very, very rich country. But the management is where we have problem. It's been looted, it's been mismanaged, you've been siphoned some kind of way, and that is why we are poor people. And we'll be poor. So,
Ajale Koko,
yes.
if you are to estimate how much is being stolen from Nigeria every year, what would be the figure that you think is responsible for impoverishing us? And let me add this too. In terms of stealing from Nigeria, we're talking about taking money from Nigeria and taking it overseas. Because if it is stolen within the country and spent within the country, Nigeria will not be poor. The problem is that the money is taken outside the system. So how much would you say is leaving Nigeria every year from theft?
And currently now, because of the lack of Federal Reserve, people cannot even steal money and send it away. We don't even have the dollars to even try to transmit away. So if they are stealing the money and still spending it in the economy, then it's still within the economy, and Nigeria should not be poor. Because if Atiku steals money and build a university, the university is serving a purpose. People are paying fees. He's paying salaries. He built that university. Construction workers built it and they were paid. So it is circling within that economy. So that's why, anyway, let me be short.
So the point I'm making is that if you are to estimate how much Nigeria's funds are being stolen out of the country, what would you say? That what would the figure be? Is it 10 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion a year?
I will put it at the lowest at 50 billion.
50 billion a year. Okay.
50 billion. 50 billion.
If
the
we
lowest.
go by that, and okay, let me just try to get
if
into
I want
that.
to put it on the highest, it will go about 150 billion.
Okay, now this is a serious number.
Is it dollars or naira?
In dollars.
Sir, that is even bigger than our.
It's okay.
It's not true.
By that time, Nigeria will be empty now. If they are taking up
you don't know how much
Nigeria will collapse. So it's not true, sir. Sir, it's not true.
Look, you guys don't know how much they are looting the resources of that country every day. They loot the revenue in terms of taxes. They're stealing it. Your oil, they're stealing it. Your gold, they're stealing it. There are some other mineral resources they are stealing, and they are taking it away. I mean, a lot of looting is going on in that country. If we want to quantify everything, I am telling you, it will not be. I'm telling you, minimum 50 billion. If I'm putting it, or even the 150, I'm putting it. I'm just trying to be.
Sir, please. So what you are saying is that what is being stolen from the country is a lot more bigger than what we generate as revenue. So let me put this in perspective to you. In 2021, we generated $8 billion. In 2022, we generated $10 billion. In 2023, we are estimating to generate, I think, maybe $14 billion. Sir, please, sir.
No. You are not generating 14. What they
estimated
is 9 billion.
Hold on, let me.
No. I'm sorry. I'm talking of it's trillion that I'm. Maybe 9 trillion.
Billion dollars.
Okay, you could be right. So
okay,
what I'm telling you is that there are a lot of stealing that is going on in that country.
We are gonna be rounding off soon, so that let's try to get this in. But
this guy
let me. I will just want to rush in with this point that I want to make, so that this guy can this Mega can go next. See,
Brownberry is talking. What's
yeah,
I think
Brownberry. Yeah, the thing is the 150 billion is a lot of money. All our crude oil, natural gas, if it's not stolen, at max we are going to get from it is barely $50 billion. So are you saying they are stealing more resources out of Nigeria than all our natural gas and crude oil, even without one drop being stolen? Yeah, they are stealing more than that. Where is the money coming from? Because OPEC has their number that we can maximize how much oil we can produce. If we produced all of them without one drop missing, we still won't get more than $50 billion a year. So where is the money disappearing to? $150 billion. So where is the other $100 billion coming from that they are stealing every year? If you tell me that they are stealing the resources they steal from Nigeria, they use it to go and manufacture stuff
to
that
Naija,
is
to Naija,
valued at over $150 billion, I would say yes.
to
But
Naija,
taking from Nigeria, I don't know.
to Naija. Do you
Yeah.
know how much oil is stolen from that country on daily basis, on annual basis? Do you know how much?
Okay.
You don't. You
Outside,
don't
are
look.
you talking about
Nobody
outside
knows.
OPEC
Nobody.
quota?
Hold on. For
Are
the
you talking
fact
about
that we
outside
don't.
OPEC quota here?
For the fact that we don't have the accurate figure of how much oil taken out from our country every day, that should tell you that a lot is stolen.
See, I don't know. All I can
No,
tell
no,
you
no,
that the
no, no. Look,
OPEC
look.
estimates how much a country can produce, the ability of a country to produce, and they've given us the amount we can produce, and we are not meeting that yet. But I'm saying even if we were meeting it, we will not make that much money anyway. Not anything close to $150 billion.
I am telling you, Nigeria have the capacity to produce about 5 million barrels of oil every day.
How
But
many?
the quota system we have with OPEC, that's the one that is given to us. We must not, because we are member of the organization. Okay, this is how much is allocated to you. Don't produce more than this. It's 1.8 million, maybe 1.8 or 2 billion. But
And
I'm
we are not
telling you,
even
we
meeting
have the
that.
capacity, and we are not even meeting now. But it is it's not I mean it is known to everybody that oil is stolen every day from that place. Giant ships are taking out our oil every day, and they can't keep the accurate record of how much oil that we produces every day. So look, they have stolen that country to death. I am telling you. When you go to the
Maybe you are
depot,
right, but it's hard
yeah.
to believe that when we don't have concrete proof of these things. We've found some oil that were being siphoned off the country, and we've never had a history where we found out, okay, we've never, produced oil above the OPEC this in our location anyway. Historically, I don't think we've ever produced more than that. So I don't know where we have the justification to say that we
Even on
have
the oil
more
subsidy,
oil, like double or
even
three
in the
times the oil that we currently know of.
even on the petroleum subsidy, how much do you know that is stolen from that one? I mean, from that sector alone, how much do you think is stolen every day on that
In terms
petroleum
of the
subsidy
petrol that is brought back to the country,
that is
okay,
brought back to the country?
no, that's
How
one of
much
my
do we
problems.
use?
I know. I see. The way I put it is that if, let's say, we generate $40 billion worth of this crude oil, we take that money and use it to buy petrol. It comes back into Nigeria, and then half of it or a quarter of it ends up stolen again. So yeah, we are losing money either way. But if you look at all that money we are talking about right now, it's still less than California's healthcare budget, which is over $200 billion. That is where we are.
Okay, let us do a breakdown here. Do you know on each barrel of oil how many products they can produce out of a crude barrel of oil?
I don't know.
About 56 different products can be taken out from
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Imagine we have, what do you call it? We
Refining
have
capacity.
refining capacity and other industry that can do all those refining and all the rest. Do you know how much Nigeria will be making in terms of finished products on a barrel of oil? But oil, all these things, we are selling it. We don't produce it. We are not making the gain, the best of the best gain and profit out of this thing. So check out the loss.
Okay, I think we need to. I need to say sorry. Let me just clear two parts because I think this guy. If you look at this Gerald, this thing, he's saying something to that. I think it's a bit confusing for me, and I'm sure Emeka's head is probably exploding too. The idea there is that are we going to go by the total that OPEC allocates us? Or are we talking outside all that numbers now that we are actually generating even more oil than OPEC has allocated. Are we talking? That's what we are talking about here. Like over 2 million barrels, but we are just being told of about this in 1.6
No,
million barrels.
when you're stealing oil, you're going against OPEC quota, right? Because you're selling it in the black market. So you can steal as much as 10 million barrels, 20 or 20 billion. And that depends on how powerful you are and how connected you are to be able to get that much of crude oil and siphon it out of the country into international waters. But I don't think anybody has that
Do we have evidence
capacity.
for it? Even all the ones that have been caught recently,
Yes, they
it
don't even have
doesn't
that
indicate
capacity. Yeah,
that.
it's not up to. It's not even up to a million barrel. It's not up
He
to a
said,
million barrel.
do you know what they are basically what is being said here? That more oil is leaving Nigerian shores than we are actually shipping out this thing for
That's
national
speculative.
income.
That's
That you know
speculative. It's not. It's
that
not
is massive
definitive.
because there's no way anybody will miss that. It's like you expect 100 ships to go out of a country a month, and suddenly you're
Mm.
seeing 200 ships, and nobody will tell that this is not right. That maybe we should check the other ones. So if somebody is stealing, I would like to think that the theft will be slightly less than the actual this thing resources that belongs to a whole nation. And but you know, if there's evidence for it, I'll raise my hand up. But from so far, what we've seen is that it's not that big. It's not bigger than like up to 1 million barrels a day that is being stolen.
No, it's not up to. It's not up
So,
to.
and if it's not up to, we are still poor. If it is, let's say, 10 million barrels are being stolen a day from Nigeria, yes, I'll say yes. That one is enough to make a difference in our country, even with our current state of revenue, internally generated revenue sources. So I see, to an extent, where Ajale Koko is coming from is the kind of conventional school of thought in Nigeria, because we felt that in the 1970s we found oil, you know, everything is going well, you know, things looked okay, you know, they think that's Nigeria was rich, but it's not enough. If you look at other countries, it's not enough. If I look at Singapore's GDP now, Singapore is about 5.7 million people. If you scale it, they are probably 40 times larger than that of our country, given their population that they have. So they are performing themselves based on having nothing. So I would like to start rounding this down, but we can take a vote and see where we are in terms of you know, we'll vote up that Nigeria is not rich, and some other people will say Nigeria is rich. I don't think there's no any need to grade it or very rich or very poor. I think it would just seem like we are trying to, you know, grandstand. So I will leave it at that. But I think this topic probably needs to be revisited, because we really need to actually do the numbers so that we know what we actually have to play around with every year. Because this thing that we do when politicians and our leaders bring a budget out and they say they've stolen everything already from inside the budget before even started, and some of them, they talk about how politicians the expenses that they have, all those things we factor it into the national this budget and the income that we have, and see how much that is affecting it. If it is affecting it by 0.01%, then what is all the fuss about? We should be focusing on things that are actually more productive for us. So let's take a vote first, then we'll go to the final you know, I said that we'll propose the easiest path to generating outsized income for Nigeria. But first of all, let's just vote. Is Nigeria a rich country? Let's start from Brownberry, then we'll come to Bakari. Brownberry, are you there? Oh no, who is the one on the D on the left, on the right of the screen?
Sorry, 2NAIJA, can I come in for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, brilliant. Before you round off, I just want to highlight something. You know that session with Peter Obi yesterday?
Oh yeah.
You know that cameo appearance that that HO had.
Yes.
It is actually gone viral. People are clipping it all over social media. So people have been sending it to me via Instagram. So let me just show you this. This is just one of the people that have clipped HO. Can you see?
Wow.
I want to make a first confess one thing. I know 100% support you. Yes, Nacho will be my man. But all my children gravitate to you. And as a good mama, when I support my children anyhow.
Show your children.
But my question be say, waiting around place support.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to flash that up. That's HO, you know. They've clipped her all over, so she's now a superstar. She's gone global. So yeah.
I thank God I didn't go viral. Family members will be calling me now. I don't need that drama. So yeah,
all right,
I thought it was a good thing. I thought it was a good thing that who was doing, because some people were saying they were cringing that she was having a go. I say he needs to hear it, because Nigerians are tired. He needs to hear that kind of frustration that's coming from Nigerians. So all right, so let's take our vote. Except you want to say something about the HO this video. So let's take our vote. Let's start from bottom right hand, then we'll go back to Bakari. Ajale Koko, is Nigeria a rich country?
Look, Nigeria is a rich country, but the management of the resources of that country. No, let me say this. Nigeria is a rich country in terms of our population, because population, I've seen so many countries in the world with larger population, which is an asset, is being used, to develop their country and make their country become one of economic power in the world. Example is China, India. So, and we are the largest population in Africa, and largest black nation in the world. It should have been turned. If well managed, it would have been, turned to a great advantage of the country, but it's not well managed. So that is number one. So number two, in terms of natural resources, where is the natural resources you don't find in Nigeria? Is it oil? Is it gold? Is it silver? Is it gemstone? Is it copper? Is it lithium? Or what is it that we don't have? So that tells us that we are very rich. It's resources that can, when the resources of the country is well managed, it can turn a country to a very, very rich country. So those resources are there. We are seen as a rich country, but we don't manage our resources well. So, but Nigerian people are poor due to mismanagement of the resources. So let me leave it like that. But we are rich country by everything that is available in terms of natural resources and the number, the population, and the potential, other potentials that our lazy leaders fail to tap into, to turn us to one of the greatest power in the world. So that is my take on that.
But right now we are poor. Is that what you vote?
Oh yeah. We are very poor. We are not only poor. Bad management has turned us to underdeveloped country.
Okay, good.
We used to be developing in the 70s, in the 80s. Nigeria was rapidly developing. In fact, not just in the areas of our industrial sector was seriously developing and was moving fast. We were more, we were developed more than a lot of Asian countries back then in the 70s and the 80s. But where we are today, we are backward. They are far ahead of us. We are underdeveloped, industrially, we are underdeveloped. Scientifically, we are underdeveloped. Technologically, we are far behind due to bad leadership. And it's unfortunate that these lazy, crazy people, looters and criminals we have in position of power, have, rendered us very, very poor and turned the country to be underdeveloped country. It's unfortunate. So that's my take.
All right. So I take it that you voted that Nigeria is poor right now. Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
Because that people need to understand that. Okay, good. Next is Brown Berry. Are you there?
Hello, Lele.
I don't think Brown Berry is around. So King Emeka, can you go? I think I have an idea where you stand on this.
Yeah, Nigeria is a poor country, not just a poor country, it's also a broke country. We're poor in terms of managing our resources. Like, the resources Oga mentioned, resources we are yet to tap. So they are still on the ground. We don't have customers for them yet. Even the natural gas that we said we have that we want to give to Europe from next year, hopefully, because as a result of the Ukraine and Europe and Russia crisis, we are just laying pipe to Portugal. So though we have potential customers lined up, that is, we can still estimate that as a good deal. But currently, the minerals, how many are we tapping? How many are we processing? How many are we exporting to customers across the globe? It's not significant. We're a poor country in terms of the resources we have. If it's the human capital, a lot of Nigerians are idle and unemployed. We are not putting them to best use. So we are not generating enough productive capacity for in the country that will translate into GDP. And then when you slash that by the total number of population in the country, that will give you the GDP per capita. So we're a poor country. As a result of, we don't have leaders that can think outside the box. We don't have leaders that can that are innovative enough. We don't have leaders that have great visions that can move the country to the next phase. We don't have leaders that can put on the thinking cap. We only have leaders that will just enter into into the country or go to any agency and they tell them, the civil servants there tell them, this is how we do. Say, this is how we do. Okay, oh yeah, let's roll with it. They don't come with new innovation, new cap or thinking cap to see how to change things. So far, so good. We've been complaining about revenue. I'll come to revenue. We've been complaining about revenue. It's so obvious. Now it's getting bad. But what is the Minister of Finance doing? They keep saying, oh, we will streamline tax management. We would capture more people in the tax bracket. How many of them have they done? None. It's reducing. So it means these people are not thinking. So we are poor and then we are broke. We are broke because we are not generating enough revenue. We are not capturing enough people to pay taxes. We are not increasing our tax bracket. We're also not exploiting ways to also improve our tax revenues. Yes, we have royalties from oil, we have custom duties, we have stamp duties, we have fees and licensing fees that we offer, but we need to see ways to also generate more funds. And the best way to increase our revenue anywhere in the world, currently even here in Canada, is through taxes. You must capture everybody within the tax bracket, all taxable individuals. And we don't even have a tax here in the country. Do you know if there's a tax here? No, I'm not aware. There should be, every Nigerian should know that, oh, tax season is coming. No, I need to find my taxes. I need to ensure that taxes is being filed so that I don't have any problem. Or if the government is going to give me small tax credits, I will get it from there. That's a better way to do that. What's the essence of tax? Taxes, it can be used as a redistribution of wealth from people who have so much money to people who don't have any money at all. So we need to be efficient with our taxation in that country. So it all boils down, we keep blaming the leader. I don't like to throw blames. Why I don't like to throw blames is that because we don't know what these people who may mean well for the country are currently facing, the challenges. There might be bottlenecks that we don't understand and we don't appreciate. But again, it still boils down to being an effective leader. When you say you will do something, please go there and go and do it. Don't give us excuses. Well, I am also grateful that all the presidential candidates are saying they are going to increase our tax brackets. They are going to be efficient in taxes. They are going to try to increase our tax revenue. It now all boils down to them doing the work. Let's see how 2023 is going to look like. And take it from there. But currently, we're poor, we're broke.
Yeah, you know what, Emeka, I will be more of your fan if you're not so spiteful of Peter Obi, really, because I must say you do have some insight in so.
No, I'm not inspired. I don't spite Peter Obi.
Oh
No.
yeah.
See,
You are.
I do admire him. I admire
I've
that
not had
man.
you go after Tinubu the way you go after Peter Obi. You take it personal.
Oh no, when there evidence of me with Tinubu making a huge mistake, trust me, when Tinubu wins and governance starts, right, you will see me going really hard on him
But
in
Peter
terms
Obi
of
hasn't
areas
won
where
now. Why are you not going after Peter Obi?
because he won't win. They are saying he will win and he won't win. How is he
Yeah,
going
but
to win
why are
when
you
I'm
having
looking
a
at he
you
won't
see
win?
what this is exactly what I mean. You are contemplating the other guy should win, but you are not having a go at Tinubu
You
or
see,
this
nobody.
as much.
Do
That's it. That's the only
do
thing
you
I have
notice?
issue with you.
Do you also notice that missiles are not also going to Atiku because his supporters are gracious in defeat. They acknowledge that they are weak. Even though they are trying to, oh no, we are not weak. They are being pretentious. They acknowledge and they are trying to rectify things to see maybe whether there will be a glimmer of hope for
You
them
see how
that they might
generous you
win.
are being to them. You see how generous you are being again.
Because they are not arrogant, but with the obedient are so
Oh my God!
arrogant.
So
Even in
the
the face
arrogance
of
is why
defeat,
you attack Obi aggressively. Is that it?
exactly.
Seriously?
Even in the face of defeat, they are being arrogant, and you're looking at them like, what the hell is going on? What is
But
happening here?
why
What
you
is wrong
say the
with you
face of
people?
defeat though? The polls are indicating that he's ahead and all the other aspects. I just feel like sometimes I would like to see you be more even handed when you are going after the
See,
candidates.
trust me. I'm trying to be objective as possible. But in a situation where you've received insulted not only my family, my mother, and insulted her private parts. It boils down to you being like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Do these people think they are the only ones that can just speak anyhow, even in the face of objective assessment, and you know that you are not going to win? Who tells these people that they are going to win? So that's why I'm being a bit defiant, right, towards them. If they are like, if the narrative is, we know Obi might win. Obi might win. There are chances for him, he might win. Obi might win. But we don't know. This race is a bit dicey. Let's see. Let's hope. Let's pray maybe Obi will win. Trust me, I'll begin to lay out strategies like, okay, I think Obi should do this. I think Obi should do that. I think Obi should go to this way. I'm a Southeast man. I want him to win. I do want him to win. But then you are having people who don't even know anything about politics coming to tell you and insulting you and telling you, my friend, then when you ask them specific questions, they can't even answer it. They can't answer it. Tell me how.
Emeka, you see the thing. You are getting excited now because you got excited because they got too excited. See, the thing is, you remain objective.
But I am not.
And you
I
go
am not excited. See, the difference is I am not excited for another party. I am excited to show them that they are wrong. You understand? Now, my excitement is to show them that you are wrong, not to tell them, not to say, but what they are saying is that I'm a paid agent to Tinubu, I'm a paid agent, I'm a paid APC agent. No, I am excited to show them. I am correct. I should be doing my report, but I'm analyzing the Southeast properly to show them that, see, you guys are wrong. That's my excitement now. So it would have been different if they are gracious enough to accept the fact that Obi is not strong politically, but anything can happen in politics.
Exactly. I disagree with that, obviously. I disagree with that.
2NAIJA?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been on this space. I came in because of Emeka.
Goodness, so all this while you have been civilly listening in the background.
Talking some nonsense.
So now
so I'm very busy right now. But I just came in because of him to counter him. Because he's a behavior. So there's no way he's going to hide it. So every time I hear you speak, I didn't want to come in.
Calling him out for
but
it
I'm just coming in because
I've
been giving my narrative on the I've been giving my narrative on the chat because I'm not ready. I have not been ready to come in, but I just come in because of the gibberish he's talking about. He's an behavior, so there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can even tell by his body language. There's no doubt about it.
That's what I'm trying to highlight to him, because he's not being objective with everyone else.
No,
going
he's
after
not.
Obi.
So,
at the-
don't come here and be saying that. There's nothing
No,
wrong.
you guys are the one that make me not to.
I don't care, and I'm gonna come here every time you come in and talk about
No
Obi.
problem. Come back for more. Have you bought your rope? Have you bought rope? Have you bought chair that you will tie yourself to? Because
I've
today
been on
will
this.
be
I've been on
explosive.
this page before you, so I'm
I
gonna be
know,
here
I
until
agree,
the
but
election.
today will be today will be very explosive.
I'm gonna give it back to you. So
Today
ready
will
for
be
me.
today will be explosive. Today your mouth will open and you will not be able to vomit. You will tie yourself to a chair.
See, Emeka, you see that kind of attitude. That's a problem. You say they are like that. You are just as bad. You are going after them with a vengeance.
Exactly. I explained myself to you that my excitement. I explained myself that my excitement is to show them that they are wrong.
Why do you want to show them? You can't show them they are wrong. This is their opinion. You talk. See, if you spoke like this about Tinubu, about Atiku, I will say, okay, yeah, you are level. You're just trying to
if those on the other platform will be objective enough, there are times where I have gone hard on Tinubu. I have been able to go hard, but they want me to say Tinubu is a drug trafficker when the evidence does not show that. I don't call the story.
I don't call Tinubu a drug trafficker.
No,
I call
the court record. I read that court record 3 times, and I didn't see anything to say. Okay, they say, okay, Tinubu, you have been arrested, charged, imprisoned because you traffic drug. I didn't see it there on that report.
Okay, 2NAIJA, let me, Emeka, can I talk? Okay, you see what Emeka just said? Obedience, the only one talking about Tinubu drug trafficker. You're just making unnecessary excuse. Even I thought this was emancipated from Atiku camp about the drug trafficking. They're the one that brought it up to this space.
I just explained to you now.
So
I just explained to you now. I just said
okay, let's leave it. I should never have mentioned the Peter.
I just said Atiku people, right?
Whether you're from Umuahia or not, that's that's I'm an in-law to Umuahia people. So
very good. Thank you, my in-law.
My sister married to an Umuahia person, so it doesn't really matter where you're from. Whether you're from,
yes, we are very happy.
It doesn't matter where you're from. I don't give it. Let's
leave it. Let's keep it.
No, Wahala. Today will be very explosive. Maybe one man might kick me out today.
Okay. Let's bring it in now. Let's take it easy. Come on, Emeka, seriously. You need to take this down a notch. You are leading people to have serious disagreements when it's not needed. You are an intelligent man. I can see that you do understand aspects of the economy and the nation, national institutions and stuff like that. Why would you be doing this? Come on, let's try to go after one. Go after the other side as much as you go.
See, let me be civil, right? What I try to do is put an objective assessment to the best of my abilities, relying on maybe newspaper publications, interviews, past or historic data available to me, and projection, and make projection on specific things. But when you are doing this and you are looking at it and you said, okay, based on what has been happening in the country, the likelihood is like this. And then so people come to tell you nonsense. It's painful. Let's be very honest. Then again,
this morning I was accused of all kinds of things. See, it doesn't mean I go after Peter Obi, do I? You see,
no, I don't go. I really do not go after Peter Obi. Like that.
Look at.
I really do not go after Peter Obi. But the people say they are taking poll to kick me out of a place that I'm trying to be as objective as possible. I said, okay, I'm not in a place where I can even express myself properly. I cannot speak and I will say it the way it is, because I can't say it in that group and say, come, P2B is not going to even win Southeast. All you people are saying, you are just dreaming, you are dreamers.
It doesn't matter about your projection.
Not only can I say it confidently, I can even show them and say that, come on, look at in Abia North. Look at who is going to win. In Abia South.
Oh my God.
That's not relevant. That's their projection. That is their personal opinion.
Let's try to get back on topic.
You are not an expert. Even an expert doesn't predict election. I've been in America for a long time. I follow American politics. I know how election prediction works. So don't be coming here making like you're an expert. You're not the only learned or the learned person in this platform. This is one man. Everybody here
I didn't
is
say I
learned.
was. I
So
didn't call
don't
myself
bring
the most.
don't
I
bring
didn't call
your
myself.
gibberish.
I have been so far.
Don't
I've
bring
been
your
on this
gibberish
is the
from
third time. This is
other
the third
platform to
time I've
here.
been on this
We don't
platform.
tolerate gibberish
Hold
here.
on, man of prestige. Now you are the one that
Okay,
brought me here.
gentlemen, let
You are
us
the one that brought me here. This is the third time. This is the third time I've been on this platform, and I can say the level of intelligence here. The level of intelligence here is very high.
Emeka, calm down, calm down. You know you're a troublemaker now, Emeka. You have to admit you're a troublemaker.
No, he's not the only troublemaker.
He just goes on and start trying to fight people. He shouldn't necessarily have to do that.
So let me teach them a bit now. Let me poke them a little bit now.
But why? Well, you poke the other side too.
Emeka, you're gonna receive. I hope you're ready to receive what you give.
I am ready. As long as one man is fair. As long as one man is fair. If one man is fair and he has been fair so far, I'm ready.
No, one man is very fair.
I'm going to
so
start
don't worry
muting
about that.
people. If you're not going to listen, I'm going to start muting people. See, Emeka, you have to understand that your ideas, you are losing out because you are putting people off. You are an intelligent man. You have something to contribute. Why is it that you put so much energy on all the quarrels and disputes when you could be showing people the way to actually improve the situation in the country? You see what I mean? So I think you are cutting yourself and cutting the country short, or selling us short, by missing the mark and going after the drama. You see what I mean?
Okay,
I don't know.
all right. Thank you, 2NAIJA. I will avoid drama. Okay, tonight I will avoid drama. You understand? I will completely avoid that. I can promise you guys, I'll completely avoid drama. But what I would say is that because I know what I would say, a lot of people may not like it, but I am not doing it in bad intent. I'm only trying as much as possible to prove my case tonight, to show reason why I think this is going to be the likelihood of how Southeast election is going to play out. Please, I will try as much as possible not to curse out anybody. As a matter of fact, I won't curse
Can I
out
say something
anybody.
to Emeka before he leaves?
Okay, let me say.
Tonight is going to be two people. I mean, I can do that, but I don't have time. I'm very busy, you know. I mean, but I can bring my orally. People is going to bring their projection, but the one we are looking for, which is the one this platform represents, you know, we've been analyzing previously, is the one coming from Kulata. That's going to be one man, you know, projection. You know, we're going on this one man space. But you can bring your own projection. But I want you to listen. Listen to the way Kulata is going to analyze, you know, his projection without any hatred for any party, you know. Just listen before you come and analyze your own projection.
Okay, thank you. I will do that.
Listen to the way Kulata is going to, whether you like it or not. Nobody's going to force on him or force on him.
If it's going to make you happy,
that's the way you should be here. But anyway, you're a grown man. I'm not
if it's going to make you happy, I will do that. I promise you that.
The point is that whatever you give, whatever you give, ready to take it. So that's what I'm going to say.
You know why I said it. I want more people to come over and come and listen to what's going to happen, right?
We are not the only one.
I think this show has a lot of intellectuals. I've been here, this is my third time here, and with what 2NAIJA did today, I want 2NAIJA to do it more often, to take up more serious topics, and let's talk about it and brainstorm, bring up solutions, do assessments, verifiable evidence to prove our case. It's a very good one. It's the show. I've really enjoyed it, though I've enjoyed the gaffes and the laughter and the comedy involved. But I can say it with all conviction, this show has a lot of sound people politically, even if maybe they might not have in-depth knowledge, in-house knowledge, but they know their onions. I will say it. A lot of talking points are like, even one man has said it, you are recurring what I've been saying. I'm surprised. I said, I've never even been to your show, but it shows that they know what they are doing here. So I will try. I will not insult anybody. Trust me. What I would do is to not poke the obedience. Yes. Initially, I was like, I was going to poke them, but now I will not poke them.
Tinubu people and maybe Atiku. I think Atiku is deserving. Come on, man. That guy hasn't done anything to resolve the dispute in his party. That guy deserves to be. And yesterday he was admitting that his party is corrupt. Jesus Christ.
But again, Atiku and his supporters are not going around in a braggadocious manner. They are not insulting people. They are not insulting supporters. They're not insulting other supporters. They're only trying to convince others.
Something. I think, Emeka, you are missing it. You've forgotten about the number of people in space. It's, Obi, if okay, let's take it by percentage. If you take by percentage, if you get like 1 million Obi people on space, the other 2 party or 3 parties like about, they're not in space. I'm not saying, because you're in space, you're gonna win the election. There's more obedience. I mean, it's not even close. That's where you're getting it wrong. And anybody can pretend to be obedient. I mean, I can use any name that like a man of space. That's not my real name. I can put a maker. I can put Ayo.
Okay.
I can use anything.
Sorry,
what I want to ask,
we are trying to round up. I'm
question.
really struggling to round up here because
you will round up soon. Don't worry. 2NAIJA, let me ask you a question. If not just someone, multiple people coming and telling you, hey, you are not, you sound like an Igbo man, right? That you are not an Igbo man. You are not an Igbo man. You are a Yoruba man. You are, to the point you like, what is going on here? Honestly, it's really painful. I have to be honest.
Come on, Emeka, you need to grow up. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I grew up, because it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I get what you mean. Even today I made a statement that Peter Obi made. I said this is what Peter Obi said, and some people were having a go at me. And this is something that I'm an Obi supporter, and I say to Peter Obi supporters, sometimes when you are supporting somebody, you have to be careful the way you go about it, because if you are not nice to people, you put people off. Because if somebody is supposed to be 51%, that 51% is going to be 100% vote for Peter Obi. I don't understand how you always want everybody to just be like you, exactly like you, and then you use that to push them away. Even this morning, even with Obi's own quote, and my security, when I talked about security on that same video, Obi agreed with me 100% of it. They still attacked me for it. Sometimes they don't make sense. Like you can't keep doing that.
On our politics.
It's sad.
No, they are not helping Peter Obi. I say this all the time. Sometimes I ask them, are you actually trying to help Peter Obi, or you are focusing on burning the country up? Because Peter Obi wants to run the country that you are talking about right now. Because some of all these people, they act as if they really support Peter Obi, but in reality they are really angry about things that are going on in the country.
Yeah,
and they don't want to see reason.
I agree with you. I do agree with you on that. Now, let me also make this to the obedience. Let them know that if perhaps something happens, maybe God or maybe a divine force comes and Peter Obi wins the election, do I think Peter Obi is going to be a good president? I think he's going to do his best. He will do much better than what his predecessors have done in the past. He would try. You can see the genuinity in him that he wants to do something good. And as a matter of fact, he doesn't even have an excuse.
We don't need your encouragement.
I am not patronizing you. I'm not patronizing you.
We don't need
I am not patronizing you.
Okay?
I am not patronizing you. But again, is there a candidate that is much better than Peter Obi currently, that we do even a much better stuff than Peter Obi, even though Peter Obi has the genuity in his heart to want to help? Is there someone else that is much better, that will raise a great team to deliver the electoral value that Nigeria would get and move Nigeria forward? There is a much better candidate.
Okay, that's King Emeka opinion. Just one person, so it doesn't matter what you said.
Yeah, well, 2NAIJA, another topic you can bring up is, let's dissect the manifestos of the presidential candidates. I'm willing to want to do that. Let's look at their economic policies and see which one is much better than the rest, that we feel, if it's going to be implemented, would help Nigeria.
Manifesto going to rescue Nigeria? You're paying too much emphasis on manifesto. You have to come there and deliver.
Manifestos that you are giving those talking points again. Manifestos are promises made by political candidates.
Okay, hold on. Let's be fair. Let's be fair to the other members of the panel, because let's not make this about only two of you, because there is a progressive Nigerian or something. I think the progressive Nigerian is here. John Lekoko has been very patient. Let me remove this. Sorry, I can't get some of the names right anymore. Where is it again? Okay, let me just take that off. Okay, perfect. So yeah, Bakare has not said anything. Are you still there, Bakare? Akure, sorry, Baba, sorry about that. Bakare. Baba Akure, are you still there? No, he's not. He's not around. So at least that's quiet. Progressive Nigerian, please say something because I'm sure you came in to say something.
Yeah, brother, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right, greetings to everybody in the house. 2NAIJA, Baba Jali Koko, Emeka, and everybody else, the ones I can't remember the name. I actually coming to just to discuss the subject matters on the platform headline, and I heard about some form of back and front earlier on talking about Nigerians in diasporas should be remitting taxes to the country back in Nigeria. Kind of take position of Baba Jali Koko in that aspect, but not in totality. I would say there are some situations, okay, where things like that could be done. So you look at people, maybe Nigerians that have studied, that have done like medical courses in Nigeria or healthcare courses in Nigeria, that have not left Nigeria to go and work outside of Nigeria. I think people like that should be having some level of remittance back to the society, because they basically got the same knowledge that people in America will get on a very subsidized rate. So in that aspect, I will understand if you do medicine in Nigerian university and then you leave the country, you cannot say the country have not impacted in your life. The country have actually done something for you. So you've not taken that subsidized education to a Western world to use to compete with people who actually pay higher fee for it. So in situations like that, I can say, okay, government should look for a way. I think Cuba does the same thing where they kind of export doctors to other countries as well.
Exactly.
So I can see reasons in that area. So and in terms of, say, if Nigeria is a rich country, I think this idea that we're always kind of tying our natural resources to potential wealth. We just have to look at countries that the top 10 richest country right now. None of them are resources rich. They are just very, very good at developing their human capacity. Citizens, they empower their citizens to be productive. So if you look at countries like Germany, what resources do they have? That they are one of the richest countries on earth. They have nothing. So, but what they've done is that they've invest in their people to be able to become productive. So if you look at a country like Nigeria today now, with all our resources that we have, if we want to build a refinery, we have to go and bring people from outside to come and build the refinery for us. So even constructing of road construction, some state governor, they will go outside Nigeria to go and bring contractors to come and start constructing roads. So that is the first part. The government need to invest severely to boost the human capacity development in that country, so that we will be able to carry out a lot of the work that we do ourselves. Look at Ajakuta still, since that edifice has been there. There's been a back and front between Russia and whoever country is going to come and fix it for us. So you tell me that you go through all those universities, all the engineers, all the intellectuals that we have in that country. None of them can come. None of them have the ability to be able to go into that edifice and say, okay, you know what, federal government, we can fix this. That is the problem we have in that country. Not because we have oil. There are countries that don't have oil and they're way, way richer than us. There are countries that don't have gold. They are way, way richer than us. It's just that these people invest in their people. And when it comes to the issue of obedience, Mr. Emeka, I understand, because I saw you on I saw your back and front on other platform last time. But I think the submission should be to create awareness and to enlighten the people. If you have information, your information should not be put out there just to poke people on the other side. It should be to try to inform the people to engage in a positive conversation. So if you are actually or genuinely doing it to poke people, I don't think that is the right thing to do. Thank you very much, my brother.
Yeah, thank you. I think I agree with almost every single word you said there, because you also saw the value that the citizens take to other countries that they don't gain from necessarily. And that is very, very important. And now we have this jackpot syndrome that our people are traveling overseas and basically hemorrhaging our countries, because even another media house that is even not Nigerian owned was saying that the West is basically hampering Africa's ability to develop because they are pulling out all the brains that are supposed to help industrialize the country. And believe you me, I'm also engaged in Nigeria and I can feel it. Because every Nigerian worker now, engineers and all the rest, their eyes are somewhere else. Doctors, their eyes are overseas because they know a mate of theirs that have left the country. So it's really damaging to our country. And what I suggested for that was that the government take control of this process, or the institutions in Nigeria, like the universities, find a way to take control of these processes so that when those people are going, they are going for a mission. You know, it's like sending people to other countries for a mission. And when they go there, they fulfill their mission and they can be able, you have a way of bringing them back. I played that video here too, showing how Taiwan did the same thing. After their people went overseas, learned how to make microchips and all the rest of it, they gave them incentives to return back home, to come and contribute to their countries. So I hope that we start learning from some of all this stuff so that we can actually get ourselves out of this situation that we are in. Obviously, in terms of the foundations, it has to be built on a solid foundation of a secure people. If the security network in Nigeria is not strong, everything we build, we are building on sand. And this is why I took that question to Peter Obi yesterday. And I thank goodness that he agreed almost 100% with what I said. Because to be fair, that's his own position too. The question is whether he's going to do it. And, you know, we'll see. So Ajale Koko, man, you have been super patient watching all the drama that has been going on here, and I know you've said your own piece about, you know, that Nigeria is poor and progressive in Nigeria. And I've not asked you that question directly. Would you say Nigeria is poor or rich today?
Nigeria is a poor country. All the facts backed it. So we cannot harbor the largest amount of poor people on the surface of Earth in terms of percentage wise, and then we say we're a rich country. No, we can't. There's no fact. It's not factually backed. So we have to follow what are the facts on ground, and the fact on ground shows that we have a huge number of our population living in abject poverty. Not just poverty, abject poverty.
Okay, Baba Akure, are you there? Yeah, because he was commenting a moment ago. Yeah, if you're not there, okay.
Yes,
When you
I'm
get
here.
okay,
Yes,
so
I'm here.
yeah,
I'm going to challenge you.
Hey, seriously, we are looking to close out that. You want to start challenging me now. Where were you?
Yeah, I still need to challenge you because you guys said a lot of doctors that travel abroad and this and that, engineers and things like that. How did your so-called government encourage them? That is number one. And how much do they pay them? And if they even pay them the peanut they pay them, do they pay them on time? So these are the things you have to put into consideration. And the doctor you're talking about, they went to school and they paid their own tuition fee. You cannot. There is no advantage that any doctor, that the so-called doctor, has in Nigeria. They went to school like every other citizen in the world. They pay their money, and government does not recognize them, and they have to move. So they have no obligations to Nigeria. It is when government pay your tuition fee, they sponsor you. That is when you have obligation to Nigeria. You can say, okay, because
Nigeria gave them so just to cut it short, because we are on our way out. Nigeria gave them life. Nigeria gave them primary, secondary, university education. No matter how it is, it's a subsidized system. And if you go overseas, you know, you can't expect to raise a child. And then the child goes and, you know, when they start making money, they go and use the money for other families. Even if you're a poor parent, especially if you're a poor parent, that is painful. You see what I mean? So you have to understand that there is our obligations to your heritage, not to your nation. Your heritage. If you're a Yoruba man, where do you think the money goes to when you send the money back to Nigeria? It also goes back to your heritage. The Oni of Ife will get a slice. Everybody will get a slice. You see what I mean?
No. What you are saying is that you are saying that they have to compel them to be paying back to Nigeria.
It's obligation. It's not even necessarily compelled. It's not even forced. Because they are paying in America. Why would they be paying to America that didn't give them anything?
It is not obligations. It is not obligation for them to pay to Nigeria. They can choose to. Like
But
me.
in America,
Like
they don't
me.
have a choice. But in
Like
America, they don't
me.
have a choice. They have to pay in America.
Like me. But remember.
Sorry. We're about to round off, and I'm sorry. We're going to do this next time anyway, and we're going to be discussing other topics. But this
2NAIJA,
come up again.
can I quickly say something, please, before you just close? Just a couple of seconds.
Okay.
I think what Baba Kure, if you just look at it this way, if we're to put it, if you look at the professions that are more involved in this Japa syndrome, are medical doctors and healthcare workers, right? Just imagine if the government turn around and say, okay, if you are going to study medicine, you're going to be paying $5 million per annum. What are you going to do?
Exactly. If they start doing that, then you're not going to get many. See, the truth is, if those people were sending even 5% of their income to Nigeria, they will use it to even train more people. Nigeria will gain from it, and then you can incentivize them later on when they gain even more experience from the West to come back to Nigeria to found world-class this in the health centers. There are so many ways to handle this, but our government seem to be asleep at the wheels right now. And I think partly is because Nigerians have not woken up to the fact that this Japa syndrome can also work in favor of Nigeria, but we are not tapping into it yet. So I would like to round up right now, and I'm sure we are going to come back to this topic
1 minute before
again.
you round up. 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. Akim, when Nigeria did not manage those people well, okay, you said they give them some subsidy, they pay for some tuition fee or something like that. But after they graduated, they abandoned, they couldn't get job. Let's even say they get job, not well paid, no motivation, nothing. They are abandoned property, abandoned people. So that's why they run away. And the question I want to put to every one of you that are behind the reason that we should be paying taxes from abroad, diaspora should be paying taxes to Nigerian government. If somebody went to private school, elementary, private, secondary, private university, and after that travel abroad, you want to have that person to come and pay you taxes because does that fall into your argument that Nigeria gave them anything when they pay for all their
That is why
education?
it should not be a blanket application. It should be selective. It should not be something you just apply to everybody. So it has to be selective to a group of people. If you benefit from the system, you put back into the system. Simple as that.
That is for those that government sponsor. I will still maintain it. If you go to Saudi Arabia, most of their doctors are being trained by their government. Then when they finish from abroad, they have to come back home.
Yes.
You can't expect me to be a doctor, pay through my nose in Nigeria, and I came to abroad, make my money, and somebody will be telling me I have to pay something back to Nigeria. It is my choice. I have all my property in Nigeria. It is my choice. Nobody can force me to do that. And a lot of people will kick against that as well. When you can pinpoint them that you have to pay back.
I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone for coming. Thank you for coming in. We have to close that now, and we are going to do it again next time. Bye.
All right.
Okay. See you guys later.